Yeah, well, I mean, I can actually now. I can literally do the whole beep thing, or where is it? The whole sensor. I've got options now. It's kind of wild that you
Do
can just
that.
do that. Oh yeah, it's right there. No, so I learned this weekend apparently that a lot of people have difficulty putting eye drops in their eyes by themselves, which I thought was particularly strange. I was like, this
Oh, yeah.
is easy. I don't know why anyone would just like have a problem doing that. But neither here nor there, right? Like that's just part of life, I suppose. Like,
Yeah.
you move on, you live. That's how it goes. Um, Someone just told me, why go live when you could live Moss, and then sends a Taco Bell gift. Like, yeah, that's what I need in my life right now is
Yeah.
more poison. That sounds great. How about
I
you?
saw I saw this take that said like you should mosaic system your own life with different friend groups and people. And I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. Um,
What do you mean mosaic system? I guess I'm unfamiliar with the
we're not
term.
gonna talk.
I don't know, so you're gonna have to tell me there, bud.
That's the Iranian.
You can't just introduce a concept and then not tell me.
No, that was the Iranian, the Iranian like IRGC thing. They have like little militaries in each region.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Mosaic
like you have
system.
to
I see.
mosaic your social life. That's
I kind of do though.
oh
Like I have friends for
yeah.
different parts of my life. Like you have your work friends, you have your internet friends, you have your like IRL business stuff. So like there are people I know IRL that I do work with. That it's like okay, like there's everyone has like type A personality, type B for whatever group they're in. I mean, I think it's
Listening to
just a
coworker
compartmentalization
metal.
of what you do socially.
Yeah. No,
Oh
it's
man.
like no, it's like people they have like that's becoming like a popular thing like people describe something as coworker.
Mm.
Like coworker music, coworker philosophy, coworker
We used
tattoo,
to
like
just call this
everything.
water cooler talk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
now,
and they
well,
used
but no
to
one has water coolers at work anymore.
they used to actually bring water coolers to work.
Well, you would have like the Cooligan water bottle. I don't know. Maybe I've never worked in a place where that exists.
Oh, you have like the water dispenser with the
Yeah, the water
jugs. Yeah.
dispenser, the water cooler talk. You would talk around, like the little in your little shitty cubicle, and you'd have your crappy, cone shaped paper cup, and you would drink your like 4 ounces of water and
That
then
was
shoot the shit
warm.
for like 10 minutes. Like that was how it was. Now they have filter.
Football?
Oh yeah, now it's
Football?
all.
Hot, 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 hot. That was like
I would love for you to get a real job for like 5 days. I want you to survive a 40-hour work week. This is Gio's Naked and Afraid, is that Gio has to survive 5 days without like, right-wing Twitter internet access, survive the office for 5 days. I just want to see how that
that's
turns
like
out, because then like you're gonna be like you're gonna be at the coffee thing, and it's just gonna be like, yeah, sports, say Susan, and then you're gonna turn into the meme where it's like, looking good, Susan, hello human resources.
oh my god.
This would be better than
Holy
Fish Tank. I do
shit.
agree. All right. This is how it's gonna be. It's just gonna be called the Cube, right? This is your pitch. It's called the Cube. We take 25 internet autists, shut-ins, hikikomori types, and we give them a chance to win $5 million to live out their fantasy or to never step foot outside again. But first, they must survive the interview process. This is how you
Holy
eliminate like the
shit.
first 15 of them, right? That way we have like a main core cast of like 10 characters that we can focus on. After the next 10 are hired, they have to survive the work week, meeting key performance indicators and making sure that gets turned in on time by end of business Friday. If they can survive without getting fired, an HR complaint, or taking time off, they're in for a chance to win $5 million on the Cubicle. And it would be perfect. You could take your greatest
like the
drug-addicted internet shut-ins, and it's just like, go. It's just like, yeah, frog versus human resources. There you go. Instead of man versus wild, frog versus human resources. Thank you, Sped Kaczynski.
Did you ever see the Boogie interview where like he's talking to a job coordinator? He's
Is
like,
this from the documentary?
yeah. He's like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
got
yeah.
education, and if you Google my name, there may be a criminal record, there may be cheese pizza,
There may be a photo of me pointing a gun at someone.
It's like average first date, first round interview.
Like, imagine explaining that to a staffing agency. Like, you're just meant to be an office temp, and that would be the sponsor, right? Like, what's a big staffing company in America? Chat, give me names. Popular temp agencies.
No,
But if
I could probably clean up my record. I could probably. It's like Tom Rousel, he does tours.
Yeah.
For like on Norwegian travel, like Norwegian ships, he gives history lecture. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be.
Like next to the Power Max painting auction.
Yeah, so it's like sponsored by Reliable Staffing or Staff Force Personnel presents Frog versus Human Resources. It would be so good. I think this is the way.
Myself.
I think you could. I think you could. Despite all my rage, I'm just a wagey in my cagey bottom text. This is very true. Dollar General staffs a bunch of people. No, I mean, truly the most dystopian place to work for, I think, these days, besides an Amazon Wish Fulfillment Center, is Walmart. So not only does Walmart hire anybody and everybody, but they're also incredibly selective about who gets through the process. So you have to go through your own weird quasi-ethnic nepotism to get in or to meet the vibe. Like, you have to know somebody who already works at Walmart to get in at Walmart. Like, their hiring process is allegedly more difficult than it seems on paper. And then after that, you're working, you're stocking, your customer service, you're managing the register, you're helping just make sure that things are put back in the right places. Because, I've seen the people of Walmart.com. It's only gotten worse. And then on top of that, right, you have Walmart radio playing all the time. So for context,
imagine the Christmas shifts.
Oh, it's a nightmare, right? And like they board up and they prepare, like right before Black Friday. So I live, or not where I live, but like my office is like 3 minutes from a Walmart, and I go to the Walmart during my short lunch break. I get a 30-minute break, and I just walk. I just walk because Walmart's a huge place, and you can walk for like 25 minutes, and then I'm back at my office. And I go there mainly just to get some steps in, but it's like an exercise in cyberpunk dystopia, because not only is it just like the diversified cyberpunk 2077 NPC characters that you would run into, on top of that, it's just it's this. So you have Walmart radio. It plays 24/7 all the time while you're there, or I guess during like normal business hours. And it's just all like, and we've got our little game show, someone calling in from store 3510, and we're here to see what movie came out in 1966 that won the Oscar that year. And like, you're just listening to random guys from the middle of nowhere in the country like try to answer like easy to do trivia questions. And then they're just like, we're also celebrating some work anniversaries in Superstore 2627. Angie with 35 years. You owe your sword to Sam Walton. And just, it's like, it's a terrifying thing to consider. You too will be a Walmart greeter when I'm old. I hope that I'm not. I genuinely hope that I'm not. If I become a Walmart greeter when I'm old, I've either misplanned retirement or I have terribly made things have gotten worse in my country. It's a wall crime.
The global economy will crash. Probably.
Yeah. I try being subjected to Walmart gas station radio. I think we should classify it as a war crime. Are we talking like the Murphy station stuff? Because it's nowhere near as bad as like if you go to a Shell station and it's just like, here's a TikTok that was popular 5 months ago on the gas station screen, and don't forget to sign up and do all this jazz so you can get an extra 5 cents off on gasoline. And here's a little trivia, and here are the movies that are coming out this week. And it's just going to be like, oh no. Welcome to Costco. I love you. Yeah, the future is idiocracy, except the demographics are totally skewed in a different direction. Walmart sounds like every Philip K. Dick dystopia. Well, that's okay. It could be worse. It could be worse, everybody. It could be Costco.
That's like that guy, the what's his name? In Canada, they want to like, the media is like crying to stop his deportation. He's the guy that like.
Do you know how little that narrows it down?
No, he was the guy that drove the truck that.
Okay.
Redacted the 16 school children, including like hockey players.
Dear Lord. This was in Canada. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, that's like
you're just driven to insanity.
Yeah, like it makes you think though about like how, you know, there's not, where am I going with this without sounding too like someone said, if you're not the online racism game and the art doesn't work out to you. No, I was never like, that wasn't my, that wasn't my catch.
This
Online
is why I
racism
want the
was never my
cubicle,
catch.
the cubicle TV show, you know, the game show. I
Yeah.
want you to be the host.
Oh my god. If it was like a job, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I mean, I probably if it wasn't very like math intensive, I could probably do something like I'm very good at sorting things. I'm very good at organizing things. So maybe I would be like a good like Walmart backstore clerk. I'm very good at like organizing things, you know. But anyways, no. My point being is that like there are people that sort of like exist in a different, how shall I say it, a different like zone of facticity, like different totally like they have a different connection to like being in space and time than like other people throughout the world, and then you just like mix them all together and like expect society to like, you know, just hash it out. It's kind of like, yeah, you get stuff like that, you know. You go to Costco and it's like people say like, oh, you know, you go to Walmart and it's still 2007, but it's like that's not exactly true. You know, you go to Costco in Canada and it's like, you know, it's a different world. It's totally different. It's like it's sort of like the Shape Store, you know, it's like it's uncanny in a way. But it reminds you of this world, but not. I don't know where I'm going. Anyways, continue ranting, Prude. Continue ranting.
I'm always curious what level of crossover things on right wing Twitter make it over to other platforms. So anytime I see a video go viral on Twitter, I just casually like I'll see like the Shape Store. So like I think it was Sunday. I just like we were driving back from my parents after dinner, and I was just like, honey, like have you ever heard of like the Shape Store on TikTok? And she was like, no, what's that? And I said, go look it up. I guarantee you it's on there. And I mean, the whole Shape Store thing was. And she was like, so she was just, it was funny. She was like, so it's just, it's the 1990s and they're selling blocks to gangsters. And I was like, yeah, functionally. There's a little more to it than that, but I think you're on the right track. But like she had to go look it up. It wasn't something that had came her way naturally. And then like she'll ask me the same thing. She's like, hey, have you seen this video come up on Twitter from Tik? And it's just it's pristine. I mean, for me, it's a great way to just measure like virality on like cross-platform promotion and things like that. And it's quite entertaining to say the least. It's certainly the way I think it's going, but also like you can't go like it's not 2007 anymore either, because like there's no liminality either, because like COVID killed like the 24-hour Walmart, you know, like there's a popular trend.
Yeah, why did they get rid of that? Why did they get rid of that?
Because it was easy to cut hours and to just reduce traffic, and probably it was just a great cost-cutting measure, so you're not paying extra employees. And it's just like someone had said in chat that libtards were right 25 years ago about Walmart. I mean the Walmart / like corporatization of America, like they're not.
That was big back then. All those documentaries on Walmart.
Oh yeah, like I'm also not a big. I'm not the biggest horseshoe theory advocate in town. I think there's a lot of things that you can poke holes into it, but it's like they're similar conclusions, different formulas, in the sense that like I oppose the, you know, like with the World Trade Organization, right? Like you had a lot of like paleo conservatives and even people Ross Perot and others that were just like, no, this is going to kill the American economy. There's a giant sucking sound. And then liberals had protested it, right, for like international reasons. And the same way that like Trump and like Reddit liberals were coming against the Trans-Pacific Partnership for radically different reasons, but kind of with similar conclusions, right? Because like there's too much corporate power, it devalues the American worker. It's not a good deal.
In the conspiracy movement, you had like people like Alex Jones.
Oh yeah,
promote documentaries like United We Fall, but the North American Union and the Amero and. Remember the Amero thing? But anyways, yeah, go ahead. It was about that, the corporations like consolidating North American.
See, for me, I always associate these sort of like giant Schengen area agreements, because like, of course, the EU was the boogeyman of the late 90s for like a lot of American liberals and like American, like I would say crunchy liberals. The same people that are now like all on board with like Secretary Kennedy and Maha, which are totally fine. Welcome to the coalition. But like at the same time, then you would get like radical right paleocons that are for different reasons, but very similar conclusions. But for me, like the Amero or all these like, you know, giant freedom of travel information stuff always boiled down to oh, this is like end time stuff, because like I what little of like church going I did as a child, it was always when we visited my grandparents back home. And I love my grandparents, God bless them, they're still alive on this earth, and I hope that they're still with me for a while more. But like I so when we would visit like during the summers, often we would come back to the States from overseas, and I think over the course of one summer I read all of the Larry B. Jenkins Left Behind book series as a kid. And like it's got like the world government and the currency and the rapture. And I was like, oh my God.
So up right now.
Well, I was just like, oh man, like this is the end, right? Because like when you're a kid, you like, I mean, even if you're like 11 or 12, when I was reading these books,
like the Antichrist is gonna form a world government, but then everyone,
like
get raptured.
The righteous are raptured, the sinners and those that didn't turn to Christ are gonna have to deal with like the tribulation and the end times and fight the armies of the Antichrist, which is like a global world government. You got to recruit people to the cause and become apostles.
That was very common,
and it's just like, so
movement,
there's also an RTS game based off like the Left Behind series, which I think some bigger gaming channel has covered, but it's just like that would be fun to play for like 45 minutes. It's just like Prude versus the Antichrist, Left Behind edition, a theology he doesn't believe in for a video game that's too kino to put down. And that would definitely be like some 1990s liminality.
They thought that like the rapture was going to be like Doom, like it's like you'd fight demons.
That'd be great. That would be great. No, it's a little more. There's a little more to it than that. But like Larry B. Jenkins is like Ayn Rand, where like the fiction / theology or the political philosophy is so overhanded. I'm like, this could have been 4 books. I think there's like 8 of them, if memory serves. But like, I have not read these books since I was like 12, so I don't intend to pick them back up again. But it's just like this is where we're at, and I think that that's sort of a great way to ring things in. So, welcome everyone to the Digital Archipelago, episode 152. It's been a long drive. It's been a long time. It's good to be back on my channel, saying hello to all the familiar faces and names. I hope that you're all having a good time. It wasn't a Left 4 Dead Type 2 game. It was like a real-time strategy game is what it was. It was an RTS. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then like what was it, like a year ago? Everyone was saying that the rapture was going to happen again. It was like viral on TikTok. And people were live streaming.
That, yeah,
I think that's sort of like we're getting these weird dying gasps where
it might happen. You never know. Like they might. I don't know.
But like it is strange because the sort of limit, and I think this is what it is too, is like, and I've said this before, I think I have a video from like Halloween like 3 or 4 years ago where I sort of discussed like why is like analog horror, like liminal spaces so popular. And I think it's because there's this like subset of younger Gen Z or older Gen Z that has like faint memories of what like the good times used to be in their mind, like their childhood innocence. But there's also like a great degree of emptiness because most people aren't going to the store at like 11 o'clock at night or like 3 in the morning, because like that used to be a thing where prior to COVID, you could even just go like to a point where it's considered like a Midwestern thing to do, that you would just like go to Walmart in the middle of the night because you had nothing else to do and you're up late with your friends and you're just going to hang out and walk around and just sort of just be a ne'er-do-well or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's certainly the way that it's going to be now. And it's kind of just really entertaining in that regard, because now all that's gone, and so people will come up with these like bizarro inverted histories. It's like, this is how you know that you're getting old, is when someone's like, in the far off year of 1998, when things weren't store-bought or delivered via DoorDash and you can make things at home. And it's just like, what are you talking about? It's like, not that I was like totally a conscious person in 1998, but it's just like, no, sir, that is not how things were. Unfortunately, you still could have a small Albanian man deliver you a pizza on a motorbike at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's certainly wild to see that. Yeah, and Cliff Jaded is right. Good morning from SG, my dose of politics. I take SG. Cliff Jaded, where are you at?
There used to be that channel on YouTube called Vertigo Politics. I think it was like more like of course it was
Vitronox like Politics, right?
Yeah, like it was more like
okay. I have an archive of his stuff, and he's got some really good videos. I don't know where he is. From Singapore. Well, hello, Cliff Jaded from Singapore. That's good. I'm glad to know
California.
The what?
No, the California video, that was the one that got really
Oh,
popular
yeah.
before
Yeah.
YouTube nuked him. Yeah. Oh yeah, Cliff Jaded's from Singapore.
Yeah, I was just reading I was reading chat, as we tend to do on the channel. Chat really is the third chair of the digital archipelago, and we confirmed that 2 episodes ago with the Collins show at the end of February. We will definitely have to do that some other time in the future. But no, so I am wearing a pair of sunglasses right now, and I'm have my blue light filter on my screen. So over the weekend on Friday night, I've gotten a clogged tear duct, which has been an absolute pain in the ass. Yeah, right now Chad is in the cuck chair because they're not on call. They get to come out of the cuck chair every 50 episodes.
Declaring chat room martial law.
Chat room martial law. You're strapped to the cuck chair and you got to listen to this podcast whether you like it or not. That's what happens. But I mean, the strange death of malls, right? It's not really so strange, is it?
But wait, okay, so how does this relate to your tear duct?
Oh, so I got it. For some reason, it's clogged. I don't know what caused it. Actually, I have a pretty good idea. I really do think that it was divine intervention. So on my Friday, a friend of mine, Onizuka Graper, who's been on the show when we talked about Steins Gate a couple episodes back. Oh, yeah. He and I were he was driving myself and him to oh yes, Horatio. We know Horatius why. So anyways, like he's driving down and we're on our way to go to a pre-sanctified liturgy during Lent. And I get a phone call, or I missed a call, and it was from a friend of mine. And I call back and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, she's a good friend of mine. And I've helped her out. Like, I've driven her to the airport and the hospital before. So I was like a little worried, like something was going wrong. And it turns into one of those like really one-sided male conversations where you're on the phone, where you literally turn into the meme where you're like, when she doesn't get the message after you say, damn, that's crazy, for like the 4th time in a row. And this is happening on the air, like while we're driving. And I'm like motioning with my like left hand as I'm holding my phone in the other. And I'm like, blah, 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 like hurry this up. I'm not saying anything at all in this conversation. I'm like, yep, okay, good to know. I'll be there if you need anything. Just this sort of neighborly thing that you do while you're on the phone. And then I look to the left and Mr. Onizuka himself is biting his hand, trying not to laugh. And I just lose my shit to a point where I break all composure. I am laughing maniacally like some cartoon villain. And I have to apologize to my dear friend on the line that like, I have lost all composure. I will call you back. My apologies. And I hang up the phone and I'm like white, like rubbing my eyes. Tears of absolute laughter. I've never really had that sort of breakdown before. And then after the service, as we are riding home and outrunning a nasty, wicked thunderstorm, I'm like, man, my face hurts. And then I get home and my wife is like, who the hell hit you? And it looked like I had a giant black eye. And then so Saturday morning, I go to the doctor and I spent all this time only to find out it's a clogged tear duct. And here's some antibiotic drops. And here you go. And so I look like I have been punched in the face. It's not a good look on me. And but you should see the other guy. That's all I'm going to say. But that's how it is over on my end. Man. So it's been fun because longtime listeners of the show know that I work in a shitty office that's like reminiscent of Joe versus the volcano. I have no windows. I have a fluorescent hospital lighting above me, and I'm working on 2 giant monitors, working on Microsoft Excel spreadsheets almost all day. It is the most wagey, cagey, I'm ready to ragey kind of moment for me. So
at least it's an office instead of a cubicle.
I get out of the bad computer, and then I come home to the good computer, and I get to do this all over again. And it's just all like, sorry, babe, the aviators stay on during sex. Otherwise, it's going to look like one of those weird sort of like fights. Maybe I should just like get cauliflower ear while I'm at it. But like, it's
that's like luchadors used to still wear their mask when they were like, you know,
out
doing
in public.
It with ring rats. Yeah. Because like, you know, like when they keep the mask on. Yeah, of course. Like that's the whole point. No, but
legit, I'm just waiting on things for my tax filings. I'm getting remotely cucked and I can't escape. Yeah, I hope everyone, to our American friends, I hope you have done your taxes. And and if you want, you can take a good record of your super chats and write them off as charitable donations. I'm kidding. You cannot do that. Although I should establish like every other. I should write it off like every other shitty YouTuber and create a fake charity. I will not do that. I will not do that at
No, but
all.
I thought it was considered a tip though.
It is considered a tip.
So
So
you don't pay taxes
no
on it.
taxes on tips. Well, not all tips. Well, I don't know. Is it no taxes on tips? I haven't done my taxes yet. I'm doing that next weekend. But no, that's good to know. But yeah, random comment or highlight my comment because I'm a contributor to this show. Damn it. That is true. You are a contributor. Look, man, you don't fucking talk about it. You don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
18K refund because of my solar credits. Oh my god. It's hard to think that some of our friends are like in their 40s in the chat.
Yeah, it turns out not everyone on the internet is exactly your age, and
I
some
know
of them
that's
are
hard to conceptualize.
some of them are just are better off than you. This is not financial advice. Correct. I'm not a CPA, although I play a CPA online sometimes. You know, Morty Spiderman. That's resident tax accountant. It's spelled like Spider-Man. A lot of guys get confused. They think that I'm like some sort of superhero. I'm more of like a super savings guy. You know, I help you with your taxes. Morty Spiderman, CPA.
Oh my god. This is medical advice.
So yeah, Morty is a character that Cap and I come up with. So for those who occasionally see the Friday night game streams, we always do really stupid voices, and that's just one of them. And it's a great time. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Good. You could like it be like just you should promote those game streams where because it'd be like you could travel back in time to have a LAN, like it would be like a LAN party with your friends.
Okay, so like I know the Nathaniel,
you can play the game along with us, sort of deal.
the Nathaniel Green Society I know has hosted like Halo custom game nights. I would love to actually organize that with Twitter mutuals or just even viewers. And I have like MCC. We could definitely make that happen. So it'll be fun. I guess I'm not the only person with a medical problem at the moment. No, you are not. But I have a medical problem at all times. But that you know it happens. So I pray that you get well soon, no matter what. And we can call it a LAN party stream. It'll be a great time. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I think that's
go on.
What was the appeal to one of the appeals to the Shape store is that you have like socialization in real time of like a whole group of people at a store, and like there's unks playing random shape chess that they don't know the rules. Like I know I'm reiterating the Scorched Earth thread, but it's like you have socialization that is when was the last time you went to like a physical place and like everybody, it seemed like there was a community, but even though you don't know each other, but it was all centered around like something, and it was sort of like
you mean like a game store?
Yeah, like a midnight release type of experience.
I don't know if I've been. Well, no, if I've been to a midnight release, I went to a midnight release like with my parents as a child for the last. When did that come out? Hold on. The last, yeah. So I was 12, 13 years old. And we went to like the opening release for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, like for a book. But then like I remember getting really excited because
the Harry Potter release things.
I got like Halo 3 ODST when it came out, and I was super excited because of the Reach beta. But like those were exciting things. As an adult, I don't know if I've done anything like that. I mean, I've been to a lot of like when I was younger and in college, I went to like a lot of like Magic the Gathering, like Commander night fights. I played a lot of like Flames of War and other stuff like that. Team Yankee never really took off, despite the fact that like a fictional Cold War, World War III was a really cool idea. Was Warcraft 3 a midnight release? Maybe, yeah. I've been to like 20 midnight releases of Magic the Gathering. Do we call him Unk? Can we call Cap Unk?
Oh yeah, that's definitely Unk.
Chat, Unk this man. Do it now. Unk him now.
No, but I think like when you look at that, it seemed like because of course like the prompt, it was set in like the early 2000s or something. The way that like foundational Black Americans would dress in the before times, that you do have like people doing their own thing, and it was like a wholly unique experience. Whereas like if you look at if you remember that video where it was some kind of like new attraction at Disney World, and you have like all the Disney adults that are like running around, like they're like hobbling around this new part of the park or whatever for some kind of theme. And the one guy's like, "This is so cool." And there's like not a child in sight, of course, because like no, like I mean, I guess actual children still go to Disney, but then like it's very funny how Disney has like, actual children will go, but then you have people that go that are like by law cannot be around children. So like, yeah, but it was very like, in other words, like a real life experience based off of some kind of like corporate brand is way less exciting and way faker and way more depressing than like some AI masterpiece like the Shape Store. It's like a very funny contrast how like in real life it's not as what's cracked up to be, but through this AI you can experience a sort of like weird aestheticization of a social moment that is fantastical, that has no consequence. And I think maybe that's why, like what Scorcher was saying, like it has no real consequence to the participants in the video, whereas like this opening of some stupid cape shit Disney theme park branch is like, it's got Disney adults and it's depressing and it's terrible and people are like pretending to have fun. It's sort of like when you go to an opening of an art gallery and people will pretend to look at the paintings or the works of art, and
Yeah.
they'll like say certain things, but then it's like me and my girlfriend will be there and be like, we'll actually start talking about it, but then like other people will just say certain things, and it's like you can tell like they're
They
it's
don't
like a
they
forced
don't want to sound like a
enculturation.
retard, but they feel forced or compelled to say
Right.
something.
Exactly,
It's the social
exactly, yeah.
convention.
Yeah. And it's not like really experiencing it the way that you would if you do have like a certain cultural acumen. But I just find it funny how like AI is very, in some ways it's startling actually. No, it's not, like AI is very good at like reflecting a social moment. And you know what I mean? That's why I'm not like 100% anti AI. I think that the Shapester was obviously like a watershed type of moment because a lot of it is just nostalgia bait, like everything else in the internet nowadays. Millennial nostalgia bait. It does look like an
Well, because
MTV
the
Cribs
average
video
millennial is in like his mid to late 30s at this
or
point, and
40s. Yeah.
they have a disposable income. Like this is the predatory intergenerational like Disney machine, except to a point where like now it's not. I mean, I guess it'll change. So, like by the time that you and I are maybe like 45 or are entering our 50s, I suppose the shitty woke Disney animation stuff that came out in I guess the last 10 years will be preyed upon for nostalgia and will also
Huh.
be preyed upon for remakes or live action adaptations. So like it's kind of wild that Disney has been marketing off of like there's a generation of kids that had like the VHS sort of master collection of Disney films that came out in the 50s,
Oh, the
60s,
vault.
70s, and
Yeah, the
80s,
vault.
right? You know,
Yeah.
you had them all from like Robin Hood to like the Adventurers or whatever they were called. And like now most of those things have been turned into like either CGI / live action atrocities on screen. They're not very profitable, but they drive up nostalgia. I don't think any of them are good, but like they target money and what you grew up with. And then on top of all of that, now that they're the ones that get to go, because most of them aren't really having kids, right? So like, and then if you add like the gender divide, like your average overweight Tumblr lady is going to go to Disney World and experience these things, or you'll have the like millennial goblin couple that proposes in front of like the Walt Disney World castle.
Yeah, they'll have like this the lightsaber
It's
fight.
turned into the American Hajj, is what it's turned into in a lot of way. Aren't they just made to keep the copyright alive? I believe this, Gondola. Why not? The mouse has the ultimate copyright thing, so like let them have it.
See, this is what Suleimani was a visionary. He said that how like okay, you can well I
The
guess
Iranian general or
yeah, yeah. You can I mean, I guess this week has been a test of this thesis, but he said, okay, like throughout the world, right? You can. It's funny because when Anemi Revision was on my show, he said like this was like actually the Reddit opinion, but it was actually it's quite profound. He said, throughout the world, you could assassinate leaders and you could take out our icons and our martyrs, but how are you gonna attack the American Empire? Because it's like you can't like you can't lob a Scud missile at SpongeBob or Spider-Man. He said, like you can't lob a missile at you know what I mean? You can't like do a extrajudicial killing of Mickey Mouse. You know, like that was the icon of the West.
I mean, AI has done that, but also like some
But yeah, it has done
American.
that, but you know what do you
Yeah. I mean, I think that, well, that's a really good question. I mean, this is sort of what I talk about. You can't assassinate SpongeBob, the Ayatollah.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't say. No, it's true though. Like, you know, it's like whatever a society worships, you can't like really. It's like the virtualization of culture has been a really good thing in that regard because you no longer have like. I mean, I guess
you know how you kill an icon like that? You let it live so long, you
like
watch it turn to shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
To where Marge doesn't sound like Marge. And I'm not a Simpsons guy. My entire exposure to The Simpsons is via cultural osmosis. As I've said before, I've never seen a full episode, but everyone knows that they can do steamed hams by heart thanks to the memes. And it's kind of wild in that regard. So in that respect, like it is strange. Like you're right. You can't lob a missile and go kill SpongeBob. Although it is funny that like these characters sometimes get appropriated. Like there was the infamous, what was it? The Hamas Mickey Mouse that got martyred, quote unquote martyred.
Yeah. Oh, the Iraq Gio was like full of that type of content where like Mickey Mouse was in Abu Ghraib. Like that was, yeah. Like
see,
that
now
was
with
like
AI, I guess you can just make that a reality. Like,
oh yeah.
So for instance, like I said, I'm not a big podcast person. I actually don't listen to a lot of the content my mutuals make, despite the fact that I'm given review stuff or podcasts
you can't
to
admit
listen.
That because you have to pretend to listen.
You
to
have
them
to pretend,
as
but
they
I'm
pretend
not.
to listen to you.
Why lie? Why lie?
Yeah, I know.
You know, like there are like, if I'm lucky, I'll get to listen to like one episode of someone I like this week. And like usually it's Gios, or usually it might be Night Owls that I missed, or it might be Pete Quinones, or it might be like some like obscure like guy I like to follow who does like Halo CE modding, and I'm like, oh, he uploaded a new video. We're gonna spend 20 minutes watching
Bill
that.
Sanderson talk about the Maple Leafs. That's what I'll listen. Yeah,
you know. So I really don't, or I'll listen to. Usually it's the Interesting Books Reviewed guy. That guy, I want to interview him. I would love to talk to him.
We could do a DA with him.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Because like someone paid me to do that Whitewashing America book review, and I was thinking to myself, well, I've kind of got a script written, or I've got my notes for a book report, and I'm like, I could turn this into a Substack, or I could try recording myself in front of my desk holding the book and trying to do it like sort of as an homage. I might end up doing that actually. So we'll see.
I'm starting to do that. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of fun to his style because he has read it and he'll talk about it and he'll go for like 10-15 minutes. I'm like, I might end up doing that, which would be a lot of fun. But I really want to talk to that guy. I usually watch almost all of the book content. Like I've binged him more than I'd like to admit. He's a really entertaining guy. Plus he's got some really interesting books that just reminds me of early 2000s, like
I was gonna say
stuff.
That. Yeah.
Like he really is a relic of that time frame, which I quite appreciate.
That's what I was gonna say. Like his appeal is incredibly interesting because like he's like a delicious throwback to the late 90s, early to mid 2000s conspiracy culture, where you have like a guy who was in the military, a guy who's still like some kind of like evangelical Christian or like non-denom, but he's also like pretty woke on a lot of various topics, and he like still has like a bit of that libertarian mindset, but he's incredibly good in geopolitics. Like the Interesting Books Review guy, he's like basically what Alex Jones used to be before like the 2020s.
And then you read his comment section, but then you read his comment section and it's full of people like us, and he's just heart reacting to everything, and you're just like, I love this man knows what time it is, and he's really
they're pushing predictive history pretty hard too, like Professor Shang. I mean, he's not a real professor, but like they're pushing him pretty hard too.
See what I see. He is like the epitome of what happens when you lie on your resume, and it's just like this is one of the most documented events in Roman history, and he's saying it's all made up, and it's just all like
I can't lie. I still like watching his videos.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't think I've seen a single
You didn't
one.
watch the Iran video?
No, I didn't. I
Oh
don't.
man,
I don't,
it's
man.
like there's like a whole like guilty pleasure, like sort of like schizo geopolitics takes. Like you got him, Colonel McGregor, Scott Ritter. Like it's like this whole sphere of like they're really like coming into their own. I know. I mean, some people theorize like he may be like a Chicom like agent. Or I don't
I
think he's an
wouldn't be
agent. I don't
surprised
know.
in the slightest if any of these guys
Maybe.
were compromised. It wouldn't
Maybe.
believe me. Jiang slapped his youngest son around at a public pool, apparently.
Really?
It's just
Oh
tiger dad
man.
parenting, okay? Like it's what you do. You mess with
I
the dad, you get the paws, okay? Like it just happens. There's tiger moms and then there's tiger dads, and you're gonna learn real quick.
oh man.
Did Zhang do an interview with Biggie, like with Big Spence? That'd be really
I think
entertaining.
he did. He does a lot of interviews with random people. Like I think Sneeko interviewed him recently.
He did, and that
Yeah.
was I saw that clip,
Yeah,
and I was just like,
but
"Oh
see,
boy."
like, but Professor Zhang is like a Zier. Like, how is he getting interviewed by Mr. like NATO Wave Europa Big Spence? Like, it's. I guess maybe they like could slap
Well, in
the
the same
differences
way that
aside.
like Matthew Lipton can interview anybody he wants to, because he's
Yeah.
kind of a nobody, but he's like nice and polite enough in his own beliefs that like he can talk to anybody. Like here is this like African guy who speaks really nice English who's just gonna like, today I'm gonna talk to Charles Murray, and then tomorrow I'm gonna talk to Semiagog about semiotics, and you're just like, what in the hell is going on? And it kind of makes you want to like rethink your entire media strategy for like 5
Yeah.
seconds, and you're like, man, like an
I want to
interview
do that,
show.
but I'm just too afraid because I'm like a name. I'm a face F slur because like there's a lot of crazy people I wish I could interview,
Yeah, like
but
who?
I'm not gonna say names, but like
Why
Professor
not?
Yang would probably
If
be
you're
one
never
of
if you're
them.
never gonna get the chance to interview them, then why not just name it? You know,
No,
like for
I
instance,
can't.
I would
I
actually
can't.
love. I would love to interview Rudyard Lynch, because I think it would be the most
But then, like
schizophrenic
you
experience.
bring up the 10-hour thing, like
And
just not
I don't want
saying
no no
tries
no no
to.
no no no. I want that to be one of those things where it's like, let the reader understand, and then just like we're gonna talk about whatever he wants to talk about for like 45 minutes, and I'm gonna lead it down
What
some
about
weird
Odin there,
rabbit
buddy?
holes. And I think it would be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but I would think it would be a great time. I would love to interview Nick Land, just mainly because I have so many questions. Because like now he's kind of gone like full ride or die. Like he's a big MAGA supporter now. But it's
He's
just
like
like,
a Fox News conservative now.
but weren't you like also like kind of a big cinephile like 5 years ago? Like, did COVID shake you out of that? Like, I would love, but no, but I don't mean that to be mean. Like, it's more of a
No, it's true. No,
political,
it's true.
it's a
Yeah, it's
political
true.
evolution question that I think are always interesting. Like, it's not that he's prickly. He's very responsive to DMs these days. I think maybe it was that like pulmonary embolism that like
You know
scared
what
the
I
shit out of
did?
him. And he was like, I gotta like start explaining what the fuck I mean.
You know what I did? It's total shot in the dark. I'm probably
Yeah.
never gonna get a reply. I emailed. There's a public email for in his website. I emailed Vincent Gallo requesting an interview.
I would love to see that. You should do it. If that were to ever happen, I would love to see a Vincent Gallo interview.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. That my life would be complete. Like if that would be like total bucket list. But anyways,
That is true. Happy Tuesday, Junk Sock. It's not Monday, but it's Tuesday. It's worse.
oh boy.
Only if you're a wage slave, I guess. That's really the way that it goes.
Depends. Yeah, it depends. Like
Depends
when
on
you're
what you do for a living.
self-employed, time is what you make of it, really.
What do you make of your time, Gio? What does the average day for Gio Pinnichetti look like?
Depends. Like
I'm getting
depends.
into interview mode. Gio, what is your day like, Gio?
Um,
Talk to me. I'm listening.
wake up, coffee, few hours. No. Yeah, actually,
We got coffee going. Okay.
no. It depends on how the weather is. If the weather's good, I can go out and paint. If it's not, like I have a commission I have to do, I'm starting. I had to ship a bunch of things today for all of my beautiful, beautiful supporters, giantproductions.com.
We love our pay piggies.
Yep, and I have to ship a lot. I had to ship a lot of artwork today. But then sometimes like I'll be recording something or editing. Editing doesn't take that long, but like usually I try to have a period in the day. Well, like okay, then of course like I'm also like working out at this time. Uh if I like because the thing is like I can't because of legal like border reasons, I can't work while I'm in the States. So I have to like set everything up,
What do you mean
before
by that? You can't work while you're in the States?
I can't post anything because then it'll be considered working, with a visa, right? I just have a guest, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just entering as a visitor, right? I don't have,
Sure.
so like I can't like, that's why like certain times I'll have, I can't like I can't be posting videos because I drive income from that. You know what I mean? So I don't want to keep
Is
everything
this
above
because of the
board.
Canadian government or the American
I
government
think
that you're
The American government, they're very like when I I'm talking with my friend of actually having a show in the States and my friend Zach Brown, and
Gee,
I
what
have
have
to,
I suggested for like a year?
no, I know, no, but like I mean
You
like
motherfucker.
like I mean a gallery show.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I have to like go to like the consulate. I have to like get it above board, and like he's got to be selling the pieces, not me. Like it's a legalistic bullshit, but like I understand why the Americans do it. Um, so like I have to get basically. I'm trying to like in preparation for any gallery show. I have to like. No, I'm not gonna do anything under like I'm not doing under the table shit. No, I can't. I have to. I'm not gonna risk. So like I have to just go like to people that deal with this. They're like I remember even talking to Border Guard once. They're like, you can bring the artwork in, but you have to declare it as an entry, like as they have a specific term for it. He's like, you can physically bring the artwork in to sell at the show, but your guy has to deal with it, and you have to declare that you're bringing in your own artwork to sell. It's like, yeah,
Huh. Okay.
yeah, it's like a lot of bullshit. You can't just go to the States and do shit. Like you have to, But I understand. Like, but anyways, so so usually I'll be editing, or recording something or reading, and what else do I do? My life is pretty much consumed by content, really. Uh, but
Yeah.
it is like a job, especially with the artwork. It is a job basically. So yeah, but I'm actually the gallery, the show I wanted to do is actually these illustrations I've been doing for my crazy Egyptian filmmaker friend who has this book of horror stories that he wants me to do the illustrations for. And it's like radically different from the usual work that you see on my website or what I post. So hopefully I can I said like, okay, I'll give you the illustrations, but I want to do a show around them. And I think it'll fit like what my friend Zach does with his stuff. So yeah, hopefully in the future we'll see what happens. But yeah, off the Tubi. I actually this week I'm gonna come out with that
Geo mines for
Napoleon Dynamite
gems
review.
off
Yeah.
Tubi.
Yeah, you know what they had in Tubi? They had Black Narcissus. You ever watch Black Narcissus?
No, I have. What is this?
It's
Enlighten me,
about
Geo.
it's one of the most aesthetic films because a lot of the set pieces are physically done
1947.
paintings.
Deborah Kerr. I'm so glad that
These
this
nuns
was
in the
not.
Himalayas.
This
Yeah.
is. I'm so glad that this is like a classic film and not. I thought
Made
you
in
were
the
about to name some like obscure black film from the 90s. Like my heart just sank, and I was like, "Is Gio really going to tell me to watch a film like
Oh, they have
that?"
some of those too. They have some of those too.
Okay, so Black Narcissus. Okay, I will go watch that. Not this weekend, but next weekend. But okay, go on. Tell me about
No,
it.
no,
Tell me
it's a
about
great
it.
film about these nuns in the Himalayas, and it's like all the set is like all physically done. Um, but it's got that like from the 50s to the 70s, they have that like unique like history piece aesthetic. Like if you ever watched films like Blanche, um, or like even stuff like even like really classic cinema like the Seventh Seal, right? Like it's stuff like that. You know, it's like the classics get a watch, but they also have like obscure black cinema as well too. Be like, have you ever watched the Leprechaun? The you ever watched the Leprechaun films?
The one from like the 90s?
Yeah, they got one where it's got what's his name? It's got
It's Warwick Davis, right?
Warwick Davis, yeah, the one with Ice Cube, where they're like this like rap group discovers Leprechaun, and it's like
I just know I remember this one being.
Oh, what's it called? What's it called?
Oh, this is the one with Jennifer Aniston. Okay, I remember. Yeah, okay.
This one is
I
called.
think I've seen it. I just know that it was also like with this weird genre of like late 90s where we're all trying to like imitate 80s animal creature feature horror.
Yeah, this is Leprechaun 5 in the Hood.
Is that a real thing?
Hood. It's real.
Leprechaun
real.
film series. 93, Mark Jones, Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun 4 in space. Oh my god.
Leprechaun 5 in the Hood.
Oh my gosh, that's real with Mike Upton and who is it's released by Lionsgate.
It's actually a good film.
It is the last entry to star Warwick Davis in that role. My god. Who stars in this? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's got Ice Cube in it.
It's got quite a few people in it. Oh my goodness. What a fun time to be alive.
No, that's like the shape star.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me.
They gotta have a Leprechaun edit where the Leprechaun goes to the shape store. They gotta do this.
I guess I'm gonna have to go. Ice-T is in it, not Ice Cube. Not
Sorry,
that I
Ice-T.
would. 20% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Film Entertainment Weekly said this is one of the worst film sequels ever, and if a movie could spark a race riot, this is it.
It was actually pretty good. It was pretty good. Yeah, it's got Ice
I'm
Cube
terrified that this is going to be one of those things I get paid money to review.
It's got Ice-T in it, yeah.
Oh boy.
This was before Ice-T went on like Law and Order. So there's like the like cucking of Ice-T.
Is he the one that's on Law and Order?
Yeah. I heard it on Red Chan. Rumor on Red Chan.
So that kills me. That genuinely makes me laugh. It's like, do they not have the rights to say Reddit? Or are they afraid of like a defamatory loss? I'm sure it's to avoid like defamation, because it's like, we over at Reddit who allow pedophiles to do whatever they want on r/egg-IRL. We dare not be associated with murder. That's too far. And it's just like, okay, let's be honest with ourselves.
I think it's because they did that episode right during Gamergate, and so they didn't want to direct traffic.
No, they did like a million. Well, they've done a million episodes after Gamergate. Like,
yeah,
I remember. What was it? SVU when they first started. Like the big thing was about.
Yes, the incel one. Yeah.
Well, no, they did an incel one. Yeah, but like, no, SVU was like 25 years old. Like SVU's been around for fucking ever. So like when they first got started, I remember them making a big deal about like Afghan honor killing of women.
Yeah. That's when Stabler was. They brought Stabler back. Apparently,
they brought Stabler back, and then he got his own show for a little bit. The wildest thing I've ever seen. Stabler? Who plays him? Elliot Stabler is played by.
He was better in Oz,
Christopher Maloney is who he's played by.
Maloney.
And so Christopher Maloney is a wild character in the sense that for me, I know he's been in a lot of things. Like I know Law and Order and Law and Order Organized Crime and Oz. I watched him in this fucking weird trip of a TV show called Happy, which is like,
oh, is that where he goes around just like Fed posting? Like he just goes and beats people up and goes crazy?
Yeah. Like there's like trafficking and drugs, and it's like my mixed race daughter is like in trouble, and her imaginary friend finds this like drug addict, strung out loser deadbeat, and violence ensues. And I'm like, so this is why Stabler left, huh? Like Stabler fell in love with a prostitute, had an illegitimate child, left, got kicked off the force, and then Happy is what happens in between Law and Order SVU and Law and Order Organized Crime. This is my this is definitely what's going to be. That's my headcanon. But it's a wild TV show, as woke as it is, and it's one of those like gratuitous libtard violent TV shows where it's just like, you know, I'm a terrible, I'm a part of a marginalized community, but I would never, ever do the things that like I'm accused of being about. But oh, by the way, if I ever were to meet one of those people, I'd beat the crap out of them. The film or the TV show. And
that's like that one movie where it was like the
it's
Ernie
a trip.
Saw.
It's a trip. I don't recommend that you watch it, but if you have nothing else to do, I really should just replace, like, AI could be useful for this. Like, you replace Christopher Maloney's face with Hopper's face, right? For you know, the actor who played who played Hopper again? Hopper.
No, that was like that one film where it was like falling down, but like if a millennial irony saw what did it, like, and in the end it was like falling down, but like a Jon Stewart viewer did it. Like,
oh yeah, it's Matt Hooper, right? Or no, not Matt Hooper. So. Who played it? Who played him? Is it Martin Brody? I don't remember. Anyways, you take Howling Mutant's profile picture and you just replace Christopher Maloney's face with it. Like, and there you go. Happy. There you go. Doogie Howler. Like, you've got somebody. Doogie Howler. It's the world's youngest gynecologist.
Well, I mean, all these teachers being
Doogie Howler, you know? MD. The M stands for mutant. It's perfect. It writes itself.
That should be. We gotta get Nightmare Friend to do this edit.
Oh,
Doogie
that's
Howler,
great.
World's youngest gynecologist.
Oh, it's so good. That's so good.
That's great. Yeah. And then like all these teachers who are ephebophiles, like that's, you know, it's you're really coming out of the woodwork.
They really do enjoy they're so shameless. So shameless.
But
it's tragic. What have you been up to, Gio? What have you been up to? Dr. Howlittle?
Dr. Howlittle.
Howl's Mutant Castle. This is so good. Imagine explaining this to someone who's not on Twitter.
Oh my God! This is Kino.
Imagine explaining the hundreds of hours of like disgusting, disturbing tweets. Like, imagine the most sick shit you can think of, and then just search the replies, and he'll be there. But like, it is wild to think that like, oh yeah, this is the guy that's this is the guy that's in charge. It's nuts.
Oh my God! I liked him better in Oz. I've
never seen Oz, if I'm being honest with you.
The last two seasons were like totally ridiculous, like literally like just fantastical nonsense. But the show as a whole is amazing.
Yeah.
No, but like, what were we talking about before?
Oh wow. Okay, he is married. I didn't. Okay. When I saw that his wife's name was Sherman Williams, I got so like my heart dropped. I was like, you telling me he's gay? Like, oh my gosh, I can't.
Well, he was gay in Oz, though. He was gay in
Oz, but that doesn't mean he's gay in real life. It's Hollywood. Who knows? But like, no, he's just married to a woman. So that's always a surprising thing.
They probably do that as like some kind of like humiliation thing in Hollywood. Probably some like old producer gets their kicks off it.
Dangerously close to some. What's the word I'm looking for? You're getting dangerously close to Tariq Nasheed levels of conspiracy, which is probably true. I mean, he is right. I think that like what makes Tariq Nasheed and Buck Breaking so entertaining is this like he's the acceptable target because it's like he never touches third rail issues. So he just sounds like your typical race communist grifter, but it's just all like,
but he's not,
man. We know.
Yeah. Oh man,
howling, howls with mutants, dances with wolves. Like you're just in June. I'm not on Twitter. A testament to Mr. Mutant's prowess. Yeah, my friends who are not on Twitter are like, hey, have you seen this? And it's like screenshots of like Howling Mutant tweets or like Uncle Doomer tweets, and it's like I always DM them when I'm like, hey, my totally offline friends have seen your bangers on like Instagram reels. Or on Facebook. Well, Facebook has Reels now, but they own Instagrams. But I think if you're on the Facebook app itself, like the Reels will happen. And that really is the most terrifying thing. Like one of those things about like, you know, like when your parents or like you talk about like your grandparents getting older or things like that, and like you're always afraid about them getting screwed over by technology. Like you're always worried about like the boomers or like the actual baby boomers getting like scammed by like Indian call centers or things like that. It's like I'm watching my Gen X parents in real time become like Reels enjoyers, and it really does make me a little sad.
Yeah, looks like my
because it's
mom,
like,
yeah.
well, I'll come up. So on Sundays after church, we'll go over to my parents. They live like 30 minutes away, and usually we catch up. We have dinner. We always check in on things. It's always nice to see the family dog, and it's wild because like there'll be times when like there's quiet, especially right now because my parents are huge Green Bay Packer fans, and so football's done, right? And there'll be moments of quiet when like I'm coming back from walking the dog and I'm like, wow, it's really like kind of quiet in the house. And I walk in and my parents are just like sitting on the couch and they're watching like reels together. And it's like watching someone, it's like watching those like drug, you know, PSAs where it's like someone just takes just a hit and they get hooked. And I'm like, Dad, no, like I'm watching this like horror thing in like slow motion in real time. And I'm like, you're gonna get one shotted. And then it's just like it's over. And it's done. And then you're just like, oh man, that's terrible. Is your old man online like that? Like, does he have a social media vice or anything like that?
No, God, no.
Does he yell like, at the TV?
Well, yeah, but like I think he just like reads the news.
Tell us about Gio Senior. What's this? What is it like?
I don't know. Like he just like he watch like he'll like go to the National Post or whatever. He'll like whatever his friends will send him on email, but like he's not that prolific on social media. My mother is more like that. Like she watches her Facebook reels or whatever. And I have to like point out like, no, actually that's AI. That's not real. But you know, so no, I know. Like, you know, what's funny is that like his friends will like, I guess like he sees like the news based on like what I'm doing, like through osmosis, based on like what I'm talking about. And like, you know, his like boomer friends will come over and they'll talk about the news, and I'll have to like give him the correct take instead of like, you know, the Fox News take. And so like it's like, yeah. I don't know, are your parents plugged in, Prude?
I mean, they're on Facebook, but like not anything. No, they're not. I mean, no. So most of the time when I visit my parents every week, it's just like, so what's going on, Matt? And I'm just like, oh no, because like I have to, because like I'm more to the right than my parents are. I mean, like my parents have voted for Trump every election that he's been on the ballot, but it's just like they like a lot of people, like they got their news on like TV and things like that, and so it's just like I'm very glad I'm not like Jay Ford, where like my mom is a Candace Owens fan. I don't know what to tell you.
That'd be great. That'd be like, yeah.
I don't know how you do that. Jay Ford, you may need to talk to TR Hudson on how to deal with the Candace Owens issue. But like, my parents are like very like mainstream news readers, and like they pay attention to like the local stuff more than anything else, because like that's all they got to worry about really at this point. And you know, they care more about like what proposition is being proposed in city council than they do nationally. But like they pay attention to national news because we still have a lot of friends who are either active duty or stuff like that. And so like it's always difficult. Like I have to like navigate very like weird tripwires and tightropes. It's like I don't want to sound like a total chud, but at the same time, like how do I steer my parents into a direction that I think is a more accurate analysis of the world? And so like it was very interesting. Like my parents were very much like when the whole, what was it? So like, how long have we been doing? How long is the special military operation for America going? 10 days?
I believe it's been 10 days.
We're on 10 days. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I enjoy the monkey pootler memes a lot. I really do.
The ones that Lou Templar posts are great.
I really enjoy the monkey Putin memes a lot. I also enjoy the now subsequent monkey Trump memes. Those are very enjoyable. I don't know why. They trigger this strange lizard brain activation where I'm like, And anyway, so like my parents are not like, they're not plugged in. They don't listen to podcasts or anything like that, which I'm very glad that they don't, because they have more important shit to do, like, you know, tend to the land and make sure that the coyotes aren't bothering like any regards to like wildlife. Like it's just it's pleasant. I don't know what I would do if my mom was like a QAnon lady or anything like that. I wouldn't know what to
That'd
do,
be
but at the
great. Your
same
mother
time,
starts talking about the Frankists. Like,
yeah, like that would be wild.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it's funny because I never really know what my dad believes in sometimes, because like he served in the military for so long. Like I don't know if his emotional capacity to express emotion or anything like that exists. So occasionally he lets something slip where I'm like, okay, where'd you get that idea from? Because it's like, I wasn't raised with that belief either. So I'm just a little curious where you picked that up. But I don't get to hear that very often from him. So a lot of my bonding with my dad these days is like, we play darts all the time. So we'll play like cricket or like 501, which is a lot of fun. I'm a terrible dart player in terms of aim, although I've gotten better over the years. I'm more of a pool guy. And so we've been looking back and forth. We'll be on like Facebook Marketplace or other places to go buy a used pool table. And that's what we're really looking for, because then I can really school his ass. But no, I don't really get to cover a lot of the news things. I always go to them asking like, hey, what's happening in your neck of the woods? Because like they're in a different county, things are slightly different. And I also pay attention a lot more. Like I'm more active politically, like with city council and things like that. Because like, oh, this is stuff that actually affects me, and I should pay far more attention to that. And most people can't name who their city councilman is anyway, which you really should. That's definitely what I'm going to do. Yeah, conspiracy podcasts are useful when keeping the coyotes away. It's coast to coast AM of the new generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't play anything when I'm out, because you want to stay quiet when you're trying to take things out. I mean, one of my favorite memories when I did live with my family when we moved over here was like waking up at 5 a.m. because my dad has like live notifications to his phone for certain game cams that we have are on the family land. And like he woke me up at like 5:30 at the ass crack of dawn, and I'm in like giant rubber boots, basketball shorts, and a t-shirt, walking around with a 12 gauge shotgun because we're trying to like kill some wild pigs. That is one of my favorite sort of memories of my mid 20s. Great times. Highly recommend it. If you get the chance to like come to Texas, I will take mutual somewhere and we will go just shoot pigs. Like I've got plenty of friends who own land, or neighbors or family friends. So like, I got a pig problem. We will just make it an all night ordeal.
Those like a pig, like land management, like pig
Elmer Fudd
videos.
imagery.
They're
It's
great,
so much fun.
yeah.
It is fun. You can be Elmer Fudd, except you're killing just giant pigs instead of rabbits. The rabbits really aren't a problem. The coyotes and the Red Hawks will take care of the things like that.
Oh my god! But there apparently someone spotted in a protest in Iran. They had a D's Illustrations poster, like a big one.
Oh my!
I can't describe it on air. We can't. It's too much. It's like,
I don't know. I don't
know.
Know.
What a crazy word. Can you imagine David D still being alive and seeing that? That'd be great.
There was this clip of Washahat Ali saying like, my family and everyone I know in Pakistan no longer wants to come to America thanks to Trump. The Pakistanis are staying home, and it's like, that's great, but like it is weird seeing him talk to the black lady, like Joy Reid or whatever her name is. It's weird seeing him do this like weird interview, and like his bookshelf is playing on the background, is visible in the background, and he's got all this Soylenial Star Wars shit on his bookshelf, like Lego Millennium Falcon and like the Razor Crest from the Mandalorian. It's just like, oh my gosh, like I'm being like, my entire country is being dictated to me by just like Pakistani Soylenials. I can't think of a more fitting biblical punishment.
It's good. It's good. That's why I think like a new meta in the analog horror is the Empty Worlds thing.
Yeah.
Like the Glennon Archive. Like it seems to be like,
I like the twist that this is an archivist putting this all together.
Yeah.
I find that particularly interesting. I did watch all of the videos, and then I think what's his name, Anthony Gallego, who does a lot of like
He has a
horror
video out there, yeah.
review. And he's like, well, the evolution really seems to be that like you're either talking about
A guy
like
who's dead, or
a guy who's dead, or you're like talking about like you're basically like, what if Jurassic Park was real? And it's like, oh, that's an interesting concept, because like man is obviously not designed to compete in an ecosystem where those creatures still exist. But so often I think that on one hand, as I've discussed in other videos, like a lot of videos like that are just oftentimes like representations of like Gen Z or like younger millennial like myself kind of nostalgia for a before time that then creeps into the aspect of horror, because like you don't get to live in a world where there's peace and quiet anymore. And I think in a lot of ways that is sort of terrifying, where there's emptiness, because you're always surrounded by a distraction. There's no stillness. And I think that that's where like
yeah,
true Hezekiah is almost impossible for most people these days, because like you're constantly distracted. There's no guarding of the intellect whatsoever, because you can always like supplement or supplant or suppress that sort of feeling by your phone. You have a little scrying mirror in your pocket at all times. But at the same time, I feel like it's also a weird way to explore a materialist eschatology. You know, like you see all these like really good 3D animation or CGI stuff where it's just like, well, what if these sort of like giant Lovecraftian horrors started coming to the planet? We had to live with them, or like that's the end of the world. That's the harbinger of the apocalypse. And turns out all the religions were wrong. And I do think that there's these sort of, I think that there's sort of material, secular eschatologies that we get to play out, because that in some ways that is far more horrifying to think that like actually none of the things I believe in are true, which is partially why I think the Mandela catalog remains one of the best, because it's an inversion of religion. But at the same time, these other ones are particularly interesting because it's like, well, cosmic horror is still really a good topic to brush upon, because it's like, well, if we are just like a tiny piece of dust in this infinitesimal speck on like this vast span of an empty universe, and something were to just like randomly take us out by no cause, reason, malice or anything like that, it's just like, oh, it's part of life, that's part of like the grand scale of nature. Like, yeah, I would like to, all this human existence, all the millennia of philosophy would mean absolutely nothing. Like, yeah, there's some nihilist dread I think that comes with that, which I think makes it interesting entertainment. But I don't know, like as someone who does believe in things and holds faith to what I know to be true, it's always interesting to look from the outside in as a religious person. And it's just like, oh, okay, like I can see what you're cribbing from or what you're borrowing from in pop culture, or like the general zeitgeist of what this faith is meant to be. But at the same time, like it's still very divorced from what has been dogmatically or confessionally held for centuries. Like the guys that have made that like Trench Crusade, like tabletop RPG or whatever, it's just like, well, they don't know shit about like theology, but boy, oh boy, do they come up with like a cool world and with some cool artwork. But like, I also know that's probably like a doomed to fail project also to begin with, despite like some interesting concepts. In the same way that like Witchfire is a very interesting indie game, which I've been quite enjoying lately. Hell of a learning curve, but really good. But I mean, you're more of an artist than I am, Gio. I mean, where do you see? I mean, even I guess in the modern art world, I think we're such a long ways away from like the quote unquote like piss Christ stuff, because there was an interview that one of our mutuals posted about like hardcore rock and roll, where it's just like, well, no one wants to be transgressive against Christians anymore, because like they don't hold as much political or moral authority as they used to maybe 40 years ago. And so it's like nowadays it's like, well, now you just have to be like a rightist, because that's really where the last bits of transgression are. But I don't know, you're more plugged into the scene than I'll ever be. So I mean, what do you see going on? Yeah, more like the shit guys.
well, it well, it depends. Like, there's an article that Alexander Adams had recently where he talks about like when people were talking about the right wing art thing. Like, I mentioned this. I was actually interviewed recently. I don't know when it's gonna come out. Maybe hopefully it'll come out soon. But by Skilos, the northern what's the Substack called?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Like, and he asked me the same question, and I mentioned how in this Alex Adams, I'm actually browsing art news right now. EU says it could pull funding from the Venice Biennale over Russian pavilion. Like, fuck off. Like, it's just, no, but this is my point though. Alexander Adams, he had this article where he talked about how the art world is a very like insular place. It doesn't have the same response and nimbleness that a lot of people that talk about the work of art like they basically, it's beholden to whatever like rich boomers believe in, and like what their worldview is. And so a lot of it is sort of, in a weird way, it sort of mimics what Hollywood does, where you have a weird like cultural jet lag, where they're still talking about like environmentalism, they're still talking about like 2010s, like whatever, like 2010s, like woke tard issue you can think of. There's got to be like, okay, I'm going to collect something from like this, um, you know, immigrant artist of color, blah, blah, blah. Like it's still, they still have like a lot of the same thing. And like, even in terms of, what people on the political left even are talking about now, as opposed to like what like whatever like left liberalism was a few like 10, 15 years ago. You have this like very slow responsiveness to the culture at large in the professional art world, because a lot of it is because you're in this very cloistered environment of curators, gallerists, people with money, university MFA programs, and like all like they're all like wall to wall like rich boomer types. And so they have like every time they do have some kind of cultural outreach, it's sort of like a mainstream thing. Like they'll collaborate with some Hollywood star, or like some like Hollywood celebritard thinks he's an artist or she's an artist, and they'll like have some kind of show at the Barbican or something. And so they don't have the same on the ground approach, if you will, to what's happening in the world. And so it becomes very difficult. And even like, not just in terms of like ideology, but in terms of, I guess, like even within their very like curated ideological thing, they don't have the same drive the way that like independent artists do on Instagram, who are like always trying to like get in people's face. Like even me, like I notice like I'm trying to like sell myself in a weird way. So like notice how like a lot of people that do have prestige, like under the age of 50 in the professional art world, it's sort of like actors, how like there's this meme, I guess because of those like Nicolas Cage interviews where he's got like the really shitty webcam attached to his computer. Like they don't have, even though they got all this money, they don't have like equipment.
Yeah, like
because
like all those like Mads Mikkelsen interviews.
Yeah, like he's different because I think he'll actually do more interviews. But like, notice how like Hollywood actors, they don't have, like, you'll never see a Hollywood person on a podcast. And like the only time
That is
you'll ever
true.
see,
You really won't, outside of like the corporate, safe YouTuber podcast. Like you could probably get Mads Mikkelsen on like Hot Ones, but you'll never see him show up in like a non-big.
Even like Joe Rogan will never get a celeb, like a Hollywood, unless they're like someone who's like thoroughly outside of the matrix of it. Like I think he has interviewed.
Well, I mean, he's had Robert Downey Jr. on.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
I mean, this is back after he stopped being Iron Man, and like,
yeah.
And I mean, it was funny too because like he was doing the whole shitty Dr. Dolittle movie, but like, Joe Rogan was asking all the like normie questions. It's just like, would you ever go back, man? What was it like? Like you had this character and then you like killed yourself on like as an act of sacrifice in like the end game or whatever. And it's just like he's asking all the questions that like the audience genuinely probably wants, versus like, well, I'm really here just to promote the film. And it's just like, yeah, no one cares.
Bill Murray was, well, I know that Dan Aykroyd was on Joe Rogan because he's a ufologist. He's an amateur ufologist, Dan Aykroyd. But no, but what I mean is like in the professional art world, you'll never get like people that are represented by mainstream, like the top galleries, or people that go to like biennales, like the Venice Biennale. You'll never see them on like a podcast. Maybe you'll see them on like some podcast adjacent to NPR or a professional news organization, but their job isn't really like content. Like they don't see themselves like average artists. Like the vast majority of artists who are, maybe have a gallery show somewhere or come out of art school or are on Instagram, like they'll do like, or like even people, they'll do the content thing, right? Like some of them are like insufferable pieces of shit. Like there's this one guy that does this New York abstraction stuff, but he's like a libtard. But then there's other ones that are quite good. They're like maybe they're artists that like they're more like art critics rather than artists, even though they were artists. Guys like We Open on Instagram is quite good. Like I watch his videos. I try to watch a lot of his videos. Um, so they're not like in the content sphere. They haven't adapted to like internet reality, like internet time, because there's no incentive for them. It's sort of like even professional athletes. Um, I think maybe maybe it might be different like football, but like I know hockey, for example, they make you sign a clause where like you can't engage with any social media whatsoever. And so like you're sort of cloistered in that world. And it's only when you retire do you become a podcaster and you become like some sports podcaster. Like, there's a lot of former hockey stars that do this, right? It's sort of like that. And so you have like a disincentivization from them caring about like even within the even like the vast majority of professional artists are leftoids. It's like even within the sphere of like current leftist thought, they're still on a jet lag, if that makes sense. And so Alexander Adams, he broke it down pretty well. It's sort of like cinema, like a lot of stuff that gets greenlit takes years and years to produce. And so that's why, like in the 2020s, you have a film like One Battle After Another, for example. Like it's sort of like that. It's like
No, the like this would have been the Kamala Harris cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the perfect Joe Biden film, right? But so yeah, you have like that, but then I think like a lot of artists, they are sort of like just doing their own thing now. I mean, I've never been to art school myself, but for people that I know who have, like I know I'm friends with a guy actually who um he had works that were actually I'm never going to reveal his identity, of course,
Of
but
course
like
not. Of course not.
he had works that were actually bought by Saatchi, by Charles Saatchi. And he's like, yeah, he's like thumbing through, like assistants will prepare a list with pictures of all the different galleries in New York, say, and he'll like thumb through them, be like, I like that one, buy 5 of them. I like this one, buy 10 of them. And he had like 5 paintings bought by Charles Saatchi. And he's like, that's crazy. But it's like literally he saw the image in a PD in like a JPEG that was put on a print, like on a magazine cover. He may have saw the image for like 5 seconds. He decided like, I like that. Boom. Like, yeah. So I asked this guy multiple times. I'm like, if you ever want to just like, if you ever want to exit the art world, then like I'd totally like have you on my
I'll
podcast.
totally take your place.
Yeah. No. I'd be like, I would love to do content with him, but he's like, I know, but like I'm represented by this gallery and they don't want me to do stuff. And of course, like and so, I understand. But it's a very weird environment. It's a very weird environment because most culture is outside of a lot of mainstream institutions now. But then again, I think that there's always this war that I have in terms of like in terms of mental space. It's sort of like my thinking has become a mosaic model of warfare, if you will. Uh, where like on the one hand, I think it's cool and interesting and awesome that people that are not beholden to these mainstream institutions, that they can exist and some of them can even make a living and they can like more or less do what they want. But of course, there's a lot of risks and pressures that come with being part of a group who is like outside of the norm. A lot of great arts movements in like the 19th and 20th century, where essentially this was just a group of friends who were like rejected by the mainstream and they did their own thing. But now you have the internet that complicates a lot of things. But at the same time, I do think that there is still a need for a lot of mainstream institutions of cultural creation, even though the newer ones we have, or not, sorry, even though like the old ones we have are like totally embarrassed themselves and have totally destroyed their legitimacy, like Hollywood, like a huge swath of professional art world. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of bullshit that comes with not being a part of a mainstream institution. And there's a lot of bullshit you have to deal with where like you're very easily co-opted because of the incentive. And you could just be like beholden to like a paymaster and then you start changing what you believe in. And it's like, it's not about like your artwork or what you're putting out there, your literature. It's more about like the appearance of being cool and the appearance of being on the outside. But then like when the rubber meets the road, sometimes it's not like that. You know, like the only people I know, it's very sad, like there's not more of people doing artwork that are part of like that are willing to be like, you know, they're willing to be political but not like have that consume their thing where they're just like, you know, they end up just being like podcasters or take sellers. But like for example, the only people I really know that can sort of navigate that narrow band between being a take seller and or having political opinions but still doing a lot of interesting things would be like the alt lib people. That's the only people I know that can do this. And yeah, I mean, no doubt, like people go to like raves and parties in New York or LA, and it can be quite embarrassing, or it can look like you're all pretending with each other. You know, like that one scene in Under the Silver Lake where it's like everyone's at the party for the band, but it's like they're only pretending to enjoy something. They're pretending to be like aloof and detached. It's sort of like that. Like there's always the dangers of being like hip. Like I think even like Robert Hughes talked about that. The tragedy of like trying to be hip and cool and with it, but then you realize being hip and cool with it can be easily become a pastiche, and there's other forces in place that prevent you. The same ones that will prevent you from being mainstream will also take you in and subvert you and make it so like my rave party, my gallery sponsored by whatever, you know, like it's. And so there's a lot of like trying to chase that high of like being hip and cool and with it, and I'm an outsider, and the internet's really given a voice to a lot of this. But at the same time, then you start to realize like, man, like I wonder why there's like a sort of like professional mainstream version of this, and like why. I mean, of course, like, you know, this wholesale like marginalization of eccentric and interesting freaks is obviously a bad thing, but then there's a certain bricolage that's even built up in like alternative like media or political or art spheres where like then they become like orthodoxies among themselves, and then they can dictate the narrative, and they can like produce their own slop. And then it's like like you see this with alternative media and podcasting all the time. Like you mentioned like whoever, right? Like there's even like people that get millions of views, but like they're beholden to their own sort of game that they're playing.
Yeah,
And
they're subservient to their own sponsors or anything like that. Like, and which I mean, I understand. Like at a certain point, if you make it, I feel like a lot of people are going to take the ball and run, right? Like I think
right.
that it's very easy to do that, but also like once you get to a certain level, right? Like, yeah, of course you're going to be beholden to um individuals that are going to tell you how to market things, or like we really want you to take advantage of that like A/B testing system that they've got for YouTube now with your thumbnails and your title. And it's like, so for instance, my YouTube channel for like the Prudentialist is just it's become my main default one, unless I'm looking up something that is like very geographically specific to my area. Then I don't want that ever popping up if I were to like share my YouTube screen. But like it is wild to see, for instance, like there's a YouTuber who's also like a Halo CE speedrunner by like the name of Frog Archist. I like the guy, and based upon what he used to like on Twitter, I definitely like the guy. But like, but now likes are hidden. But I remember when he was like nobody, right? And he was just making videos to make videos and then streaming. But like, if you were to go onto his YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure he's got like a management agency or a firm or whatever that like is part of that. And once you get to that point where this is your full-time job, then like you become totally beholden to the grind. And like, I think for YouTube, you have to be quote unquote hip with it while at the same time staying on brand. Because like there is an obvious algorithmic metagame. Whereas in comparison to say I don't know, like just plain old, you know, the art world, right? Like then it's tragic, right, to be seen as cool or hip or whatever. And it's like, well, if that's the case, right, then like things are obviously going to be a lot different online. Whereas like everyone's a trend chaser, at least online. Whereas like you're right, movies and art shows, they take longer to produce. Like they're relics of a previous time. Like you're really going to have to cover a cultural zeitgeist, I think, in an art gallery that is far more likely to stand the test of time, so to speak, than say,
Yeah.
um, what anything else. Whereas you have to really do deal with all sorts of crap here, where it's like you actually have to talk about this issue, otherwise you're going to miss out on like those like first 72-hour reviews or coverage of a certain event. And it's just like then you're really, especially if you're like a politics channel, like because then you have to cover the news on a
Yeah.
semi-regular basis, and you're not. This is partially why I do miss the video essay so much, because like I think that when people write genuine essays or takes, they have a tendency to last longer. And I mean, that's obviously like a no shit Sherlock moment. Like, well, of course they're going to last longer because you're writing specifically more abstractly, unless you're deliberately making a polemic against a certain issue. Like I've written some video essays where I'm like, maybe this didn't age so well because like at the beginning of COVID, I did write an essay where I was a little very, very leery about working from home. Because it's just like, listen, if you don't have a space that you can disassociate from like your home, then like your personal space now becomes your work life. And I mean, if you're self-employed, that's already the case. But for, wages like myself, it's like, oh, the corporate dystopia comes home. And it's like, that's not really what I wanted or signed up for. And it's like frustrating. But it's like, that's also like a 5-year-old take. I don't know how much I feel about it. I have to reconsider my thoughts because I would love a work from home job now because then I could stay at home and I wouldn't be probably nearly as productive as I am right now. But like, it is just kind of funny to see how the world works in that respect. Because one world requires you to be a trend chaser, or you just outsource that to a guy who will do things for you. Speaking of which, not totally an aside, I have my emails drafted. If you were one of the people that sent an inquiry into being the clips guy, you should have a response in your inbox tonight, if not tomorrow. So thank you very much for all those who sent emails. There were a lot of spam, but there was also a lot of people who are been fans of the show for a long time. So stuff like that will definitely happen.
You know what was a big trend, and maybe I know you didn't want to talk about Iran, but like the big trend in the art world recently within the last 10 years has been the golf futurism thing. And
Dubai futurism.
Yeah, Dubai future. Like, it's very funny because
Neo Dubai arrives from the future.
I had that tweet where it's like, we will murder the idea of Dubai, but how can you murder the idea of Dubai if Dubai doesn't exist? To picture Baudrillard, right? Dubai never existed. The idea of Dubai never existed. But what's interesting is that it's Thurston Botts Bornstein on his website actually wrote a good essay on it. It's like an interactive, it's like a old school website interactive essay, and he's the one that wrote Deculturation, right?
Yeah.
Where like a lot of Saudi and like Emirati oil money went into the contemporary art world, and of course, like with trends, like the demographic trends of like we need these like outside like artists outside of the West to like an architects, and it's a lot of it's focused architecture. And in Dubai, they built this thing called the Museum of the Future.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of it's quite interesting, but then at the same time, a lot of it is like oil fiat. And so you have like one section of the art world where their like focus is still on like radical ecology. And then you have this golf futurism thing. And a lot of its stuff is quite beautiful. A lot of the architecture where they're combining classical, Arabic and Persian aesthetics and sort of like Ottoman-esque. Like it's sort of like they find ways around the neo-Orientalism charge because a lot of these artists are actually from these places themselves, right?
Okay.
So they find a convenient way around it. But at the same time, you have like a lot of people in the art world who's like, well, a lot of this stuff is basically just propaganda for like the House of Saud or the Emiratis or whatever, right? Like, and now that the war in Iran is here, there's this article in Frieza, and Frieza is a terribly leftoid publication.
Sure.
But Frieza's got a lot of good articles. Same with Hyperallergic. I mean, Frieza's particularly libtarded, but like they have like a lot of good stuff. So there's this article called After Golf Futurism where they ask a bunch of these like Middle Eastern artists and architects that are doing these galleries. Like, what do you think of like what's going to happen next? Because in a weird way, like there was a lot of like excitement and interest in the art world in North America and Europe, like opening up this vein to the Gulf states, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that unfortunately, like a lot of people that have a lot of oil money don't have any fucking taste. And so Dubai is like this consumerist, like neo 80s macho kitsch, like Jeff Koons fucking monstrosity. And a lot of it's just like totally fiat. It'll like disappear as quickly as it rose. And even though like there was a lot of very interesting conversations that were happening about Gulf futurism, and of course like the whole AI thing made it
This
easier.
just sounds like something like Kunle Drupko would come up with.
Yeah,
like it just doesn't sound real. Almost
UK futurism. Yeah, a lot of it wasn't real. A lot of it was just proposing
Mr. Beast Islam.
Yeah, like like
because doesn't he have this thing there in Saudi Arabia, right? Like speaking of Arab money, doesn't he have something there in like Riyadh or however you pronounce it?
I think so. Yeah,
that's again things that are just wild to consider. But no, I for me it's interesting because
they have their own like approach to consumerism when it comes to
yeah. But I mean also I know that Brian Kaplan, famous pro open borders economist Brian Kaplan.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
He was making the rounds towards like it's kind of funny that like a semi famous celebrity economist, and I can't really call him a celebrity, he's like an e-celebrity economist, but like it was wild to see him like talk about like the Emirates in Dubai, where he's just all like, well, functionally these people all rely on like guest workers, and like 80% of the country, I think this is the UAE specifically.
You mean slaves?
Yeah, slaves, right? You know,
slaves built the Parthenon, slaves built the pyramids, slaves built Gulf futurism.
But he was making the argument.
That was from Wonder Shows, if you remember Wonder Shows, and
someone is having a very good time right now in the nursing home. And it's just sort of wild though, because he was like making this argument where he's just like, well, the country still exists, so I don't know what the problem is. And it's just like 80% of the population is foreign born, and it's just like, is that a sustainable model? And then Kaplan goes on to make the argument where he's like, this could potentially work in America. And you're just like, oh,
what happens if the strait closes for a long time? What's going to happen to all those guest workers?
Well, I mean, they live there. They just don't have rights.
Right. But what happens if they don't have any money either?
Well, I mean, those are things that remain to be seen. I mean, although it seems like the strait is not as, I mean, it's an insurance nightmare, obviously, but like, I don't know how much of this is still affecting.
But like there's this great intersection between like consumerism done the Gulf state way and like here. Okay, so here's this article from Days Digital. So Days is a long standing art publication. Here's just like one section. Gleaming. This is the beginning. Gleaming sci-fi skylines against inhabitable barren landscapes featured heavily in Western ideas of the future, but in the Gulf they're already a reality. Arab American artists Fatima El Qadiri and Sofia El Maria grew up in the oil-rich region. Quote, the first thing you notice is this unbelievable horizon. Deserts with massive blue, pink, and green skies. So this article is called Desert of the Unreal, by the way, which is a great title, Desert of the Unreal. Deserts with massive...
Give me a more on-the-nose reference, baby.
Yeah. Desert with massive blue, pink, and green skies, said Al-Qadiri. It's you on the surface of another planet. The starkness creates this post-apocalyptic feel. When you're surrounded by sand and sky, there are no limits to the gargantuanism you can dream of. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Tower of Babel, they're all Arab ideas. And now in the space race for the skyscrapers, together musician Al-Qadiri and writer Maria have coined the term Gulf futurism to describe their subversive new aesthetic, which draws on the region's hypermodern infrastructure, globalized cultural kitsch, and repressive social norms to form a critique of a dystopian turned reality future. So that's like
it's your cyberpunk dystopia, but you can't drink.
Yeah, like they're aware of the dystopian implications of having like a civilization built on oil money and helot slave races, but when it comes to contemporary art world, the money's just too good until it's not.
Well,
Then,
until you know, like some guy gets like capped, right, or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, or until
Eventually, you know, like until someone has like their Gawker moment, right, where it's just like
yeah,
famous Dubai futurist, you know, like say he takes like Dubai money or whatever, and it's just like he's outed as gay while at an art gallery at like the Burj
yeah,
Khalifa. It's like, so what happens then, right? Like you have your Peter Thiel moment.
yeah, until the Museum of the Future gets hit with a Kinshall missile. Like it's like it's like it's very funny how there was a sort of like the Dubai was sold as this playground paradise for the rich and famous around the world. Like here's a good article. Here, I mean a good excerpt.
Okay, go for it.
The Gulf Paradox. A headlong sprint into the future tempered by ultra-conservative Islamic codes defined everyday life in the region and continually reemerges in this duo's work. Well, it's funny. It's if it wasn't Islam, it could almost be like Guillermo Fay's like archaeofuturism with Emirati characteristics. It's a very bizarre liminal space, the duo said. Al-Qadiri says, always looking forward but clinging desperately to moral rules of the past. Despite strictly conservative gender roles, forbidden subcultures flourish in the malls, such as the group of girls called boyas, the familial conjunction of boy. Gender bending in the Gulf is really interesting. Of course, it wouldn't be like a professional art world article without this. Almira says, boyas trickled down from a lifestyle to a fashion thing for young girls. They wear men's Rolexes, cologne, basketball shorts, and cut their hair short underneath their abayas. Boyas get sent to rehabilitation centers using the Gulf's infantilized pop star imagery and the non-existence of images of Arab lesbianism to create lesbian couple portraits in which Al-Qadiri takes on the role.
But doesn't this just get superly like suppressed?
No, but see, they're trying to like introduce, like they know that they're taking oil money, but they're like, I want to feel. It's like.
But I want to be transgressive, so I want to make like morally lesbian good, Arab tomboy or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I want to feel morally good. I know I'm taking the oil Emirati money, but I want to feel morally good by injecting like Western woke-tardism into this. Then of course like the very like real legitimate concerns, like the extreme levels of everyday sexual harassment in the Middle East was a strong influence in Almaria, who lived in Doha, Qatar, went to university in Cairo. It's a good article, actually.
I can't believe Tucker Carlson would do this.
A reoccurring theme in Gulf futurism is the ubiquity of the shopping mall, the location for everything from covert meetings between the opposite sex to women's exercise routines. You haven't seen anything until you've seen a woman in a abaya and Nikes jogging through the mall. This is like Buddy, neoliberal Islam. This is like literal neoliberal Islam. You know?
I can literally see that in Frisco, Texas. I don't know what this guy's on about.
You don't have to go to Dubai to see this.
I don't have to go to Dubai to see like a woman in like a Nike tracksuit with like a little like head scarf on. Like I'm sorry.
Oh, they're talking about how they're sexting each other on the phones as well. Like the parents don't monitor the phones. She remembers her clandestine.
I can't wait until they do like clamp down on this, and it's just like TikTok live as they get like the lash.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Almira's sci-fi Wahhabi is a continuing art project in which she becomes a fierce laser glass wearing abaya-clad alter ego, reminiscent of something from an 80s Gulf Star Trek remake. They had those?
I have no idea.
Whoa. It begins as an essay. I don't know, between this and like between this and Hamas,
instead of Mickey gay Mouse, space race communism, it's just like gay space Muslim Dune. It's just Dune.
It begins as an essay written using Ballard and Baudrillard to explicitly explore the dystopian Gulf, and has since manifested into a series of life appearances and hologram projections at international galleries, art fairs, including Art Dubai and the Global Art Forum in Doha. The latter where she presented Gulf colloquial compendium, a vernacular lexicon of real and imaginary Gulf phrases she invites people to contribute to online. So it's sort of like, I guess what they're banking on is that
a weird cultural exchange between like woke Tumblristas and like
actual
So, I mean, this just doesn't sound too different from like the old gambit of like, does neoliberal like American progressivism
Yeah.
turn, turn the Arab world gay before it like represses itself? And this has been the interesting thing because there was a video, I think it was like from the not a video, so like I think it was an essay or a piece from the Economist. It was like, like the markets in the Arab world have like substantially opened up, but like Islam has only gotten more conservative at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so what do you do with that information? And it's just like, is our strategy like, or is this like market strategy working? And it reminds me a lot of those like early 2000s debates about liberalizing China. It's like, is this actually going to make the Chinese more democratic? Obviously not. It didn't.
Right.
They made it Chinese. You've met me at a very Chinese moment in my life. But at the same time, right, you've got the same gambit, I guess, being played in places like Dubai and in in the Middle East. And it's I don't know if it will succeed, because I mean, not only has a great deal of like the Arab world either fought with like the West ideologically, but also like but ethnically as well, with regards to Islam and its fight with the West. So it raises an interesting question of like, well, can this mimetic cultural agent of capital and
Yeah.
transnational progressivism actually succeed in what
They were banking
oftentimes.
on this. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny
Yeah.
too, because like if they come to the United States, and this is of course is an older Pew Research Center poll, but it was just like in America, I think this was in 2017 when this poll was conducted on religion in the US, like Muslims who lived in the United States were more okay with gay marriage, more okay with gay marriage than like white male evangelical Christians.
That like totally disrupts the whole like counter jihad 2000s narrative.
Well, I mean, isn't
yeah.
like the counter jihad thing about like doing like with Western European conservative parties doing the whole like gay pride parade in a Muslim immigrant neighborhood was always like the thing.
Yeah, exactly, Kryda. Like they banked on like their figure, like, okay, the Emiratis, like all of these, they're mostly Sunnis, right? Like in the Gulf states, right?
I think so, yes.
Like they were banking on like liberalizing because all these rich and famous people, they are coming into here and eventually they'll liberalize. And if there's enough like art world stuff or connections between like the North American art world and them, then they could do this Gulf futurism that was sort of dystopian, but eventually will become like, LGBT friendly neoliberal Islam.
But we saw, I mean, again, it's the same thing with like John Cena in China. It's just like we know how this ends.
Right, exactly.
It's John Cena making an apology in perfect Mandarin or whatever about something that he had said regarding like Taiwan or whatever, because he didn't know the intricacies of how like the Chinese view that part of that geopolitical dispute. So it's like I imagine eventually there's going to be like some famous artist or actor, more likely an actress, who will be making an apology video in broken Arabic while wearing some kind of hijab or burqa or whatever. Saying like, I didn't mean to, like the I don't know. So I my gut just says, come on, we've seen this before.
But the thing is, though, I think like their equation was correct because they're like, okay, obviously these Gulf states are beholden to America and certain other powers in the region, and like through money and oil influence and so on and so forth. But it's like if you have this like full-on war in the Middle East, like where their Shia neighbor is bombing them to basically saying like, "Wake up! You're basically like,
you're being invaded.
You're a pawn." Yeah, and so like I think that would complicate things because obviously that would lead to like a lot of Gulf states looking at themselves and being like, oh yeah, do we want to be like Horus to Western consumerism, or do we want to like not get bombed? Like it's a very like nobody in the professional art world or Hollywood or any like mainstream culture institution has a really, like you were saying, has a really good grasp on geopolitics as it pertains to what they're trying to do. And I think like a lot of these artists, they're just going to go to the West. They're just going to like go back to New York or London or Paris, and they're not going to be like
Yeah, this is
when the oil money
as
dries
the
up,
chat
it's over.
this chat points out, this is sort of a rehash of Jihad versus McWorld.
Exactly.
And like, yeah, no, it was AA who covered it years ago. I mean, it's a pretty good text even now, prior to, you know, like America's like 35 plus years in the desert, playing, you know, politics in the Middle East. But like even then, right? Well, it's even longer than 40 years, but neither here nor there. It really does kind of go to show that, you know, you can make, you know, McWorld is like, you know, full of you know, gay space, like futurism, or it's fully automated luxury gay, you know, art world. But it's like, well, we both know that like that doesn't really work, because the state, or like the culture, or I mean, perhaps even Islam to some extent, it's just like there's a stronger immune system to this, because it's like they don't have the baggage of human rights. You know, it's just like, well, we don't care if like some journalist disappears overnight. You know, like we don't care that some like, you know, pro LGBT art critic were to like make a public apology after probably getting beaten or something, or like being investigated for XYZ.
Exactly.
And so it's the what makes Jihad, you know, versus McWorld an interesting one is that like Jihad has some does not play by the same rules of engagement the West does. McWorld has to play by a certain you know, increasingly dogmatic political orthodoxies that make it very difficult, I think, to counter Islam in such a way. Well, and China, I mean, China is the example, because like we've definitely
like you
seen
have
this
mass
be attempted
abortions,
before.
you just don't have gay pride parades.
Yeah,
and so that makes a very.
It's like we solve terrorism by putting them in camps.
Yeah, no, but the thing with Gulf futurism is a lot of it was based on like, okay, people that they like, imagine an arid desert, nowhere land.
Yeah, it's like imagine cyberpunk Agrabah is what it's telling me, and it's just like I get the appeal. Like, don't get me wrong. Like
infinite money to do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, like we saw this because like the Burj Khalifa in Mission Impossible a couple of years back, like understood, right? Like it's an amazing architectural feature. And then a while ago you had the what was it, the Saudis that were proposing that like wall city thing, where it's like, what if we like turn the Great Wall of China into this like weird Halo-esque structure in the middle of fucking nowhere? And it's like, on one hand, that's really interesting, and it captures the attention of like a futurist aesthetic of like, well, this is what it could be, right? In a sort of this like post-national future. But it's like, it's not really going to be, because it's an ethno-religious society that has got its money by playing off of like powers that don't have the same
no, exactly,
you know, cultural homogeneity or force to actually enforce it. It'd be like way different if like, you know, America was this like weird Episcopalian theocracy that was like, if you blaspheme the Holy Trinity, like we are going to deport you publicly after you make an apology video and we baptize you on air. Like that would be, I'm not going to say an arguably better place, but it would certainly be there wouldn't be any parades here in America. That's all I'm going to say. It's just
like the Emiratis, they have a lot of demographic problems too, because like in this Frieza article,
well, that was the Kaplan thing I was joking about earlier. It's just there's demographic problems, but like the Emiratis just will never give political civil rights to
Africans.
Well, yeah, to Africans and Indians who work there. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that the people who work there, quote unquote, slaves, probably do have a better quality of life than back at the home country. But it's just also at the same time, it's like there's no political escape latch for them.
They're outside of the law. They can be transgressed.
It's not like you're gonna get a good time in a Emirati court. Like you're just there's no rights for you. You know.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. Like,
but that's the I guess the quote unquote choice you make for an allegedly better quality of life in the middle of the fucking desert, where you're probably going to die building a sports stadium for the FIFA World Cup or something.
Yeah, no, but I shouldn't laugh. I'm not. It's a tragic thing, but no, but it's like I laugh at like the pretension of a lot of like westernized diaspora populations from these areas that think they could like, you know, go back and influence where they came. It's like, no, that's not happening. Like, you know what? Do you know that animation film that went viral recently again about the Iranian diaspora
Oh,
girl,
Persepolis, yeah.
Persepolis. Yeah, like it's okay. So your
I
greatest
remember watching
complaint,
that in high school.
like it's your greatest complaint is that I can't wear a punk like patch shirt,
But I mean, like, isn't that just?
but
But that's such an Americanized way of
hundreds
looking at
of
it. Like,
thousands of my fellow countrymen are being slaughtered in human wave attacks during the Iran-Iraq war, and it's like that's my greatest concern is that I can't wear leggings and I can't. Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
but I mean, it's also. I mean, isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I guess like it is from the perspective like a teenage girl. Like,
Right.
the teenage girl is not going to give two shits outside of the way it directly affects her about like the wave upon wave of the Iran-Iraq war killing hundreds of thousands with no clear winner that was sponsored by both the Soviet Union, Israel, and the United States. No, don't look into arms sales at the time. But like it is a pretty wild thing to consider. I don't know. I guess I should go rewatch that. That'd be a fun thing to cover on an episode one of these days. To rewatch Persepolis.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like, it's very tone deaf because it basically is to appeal to like a Westoid liberal perspective. Yeah.
But I mean, the person who made it, I mean, they immigrated to the United States, if memory serves. To France.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. Like,
so they went to the West and they took a feminist way to argue for their position. Like, this is very common amongst it's the same thing with like Wajahat Ali. Like, he's like, I hate white people, but like I'm going to be a white soy-lennial with my like Lego Millennium Falcon in the background. And it's just like, I'm just like you guys, except I'm advocating for like the total replacement of your people and values.
No, but it's weird how in the film there's like a partial critique of the Shah, and you know, you have to like throw in the anti-Western imperialism stuff especially to appeal to like a French libtard audience, right? But then you have like this like vicious critique of the
theocracy,
the Iranian Revolution, and it's not like an in total excoriation of Western imperialism. It's like this partial excoriation of it, ultimately for in service of a more like rainbow colored version of Western imperialism. And that's like basically the discourse.
Well, that was a big chunk of like the quote unquote foreign policy of like the second term Obama. You know, you had feminist foreign policy. You had Samantha Power doing the bits about, well, what is the future of ourself in the region? I mean, every time that we do this, right, like it is obviously framed in a feminist way, like with the Nigerian schoolgirls that were kidnapped, right? But it's explicitly done because most of those schoolgirls are attending Christian schools, and it's being captured by Islamic terrorists, and you know, like Boko Haram is talking about like things that are explicitly forbidden. And it's just like, but the way that we frame it is not to frame this as like an ethno-sectarian conflict. It is explicitly framed in this like, you know, bring the girls home, slacktivism a la 2012 and Joseph Kony, which is terrible because that never actually accomplishes anything. It gets accomplished by, you know, the velvet glove pulling the gun out, which we don't like ever discussing. Because some reason that's just not. Well, that's ugly. That's not pretty. It's not accurate. But it's like that's the way that things get done. Is by force. And
but it's funny as like
it's just an uncomfortable truth.
Yeah. No, but it's crazy how. Like there's been this war between like the parapolitics people and like libtards over like this clip shown of this film on Twitter where the parapolitics people are like, you realize that you're equating freedom with like stripping naked, and you're equating freedom
like
with,
every feminist protester.
Like you're equating freedom with like Western debauchery, but you're also copying for the fact that this type of propaganda is to instantiate violent regime change in any country that is not Western. But then of course like the libs are like, no, you don't get it, man. Like libtards of the world unite. Like you're defending this brutal theocracy, you're defending these brutal theocracies in the Middle East, and like you're the one who's like tanky, blah blah blah. It's the same thing with the whole like Iranian diaspora women posting pictures of themselves in like lingerie, and it's like there was this great thing. Do you know this history YouTuber? What's his name? I have this in my bookmarks here. Lavender.
No, I'm not familiar.
He's got this very popular YouTube channel, like where he does Middle Eastern history. Lavender.
Okay.
And he had this thread, replying to one where he talks about like essentially you're trading, you're foregoing one regime that treats you as an object, as a body, for another that has a more nuanced approach to treating you and reducing you to an object and as a body. And it's like it's sort of like what Derek Jensen said, right? He's like, there's a more nuanced form of oppression that comes about when you get rid of one form of oppression, but that was basically just a psyop to get you to go along with some kind of other agenda that is sold to you in very comfy liberal terms. And is he Balkan, or I thought he was Middle Eastern?
Bosnian is what he's saying.
Oh, he's Bosnian.
I'm not. I'm like I said, I'm not on YouTube very often for like history stuff. I mean, if something interests me, I ask Twitter or I ask my group chat, what are good history books on X, Y, Z
he has videos on the Iranian history, and also Ottoman history, and also Balkan history. And
well, thank you for the YouTube recommendation. I guess I'm going to go binge watch some content later.
But he had this thread about
I have a long drive this Thursday night, so I will go binge.
There you go. No, but he had this long thread about it, and a lot of people, of course, like jumped on him. But then it became, and so I think like a lot of this type of thing that was happening in the 2000s, not just with Iran, but also with the the Emiratis, or like even when it happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, you have this shift in the narrative. And I think like, even though like they have a lot of very like faulty assumptions about things, like they're just the new meta on Parapolitics Twitter. We should reach out to that Parapolitics Magazine guy. He's got a podcast.
Who is it?
Parapolitics Magazine on Twitter. He's got this fairly popular podcast on Parapolitics. Okay.
I'm not opposed. So,
but the new meta is they were saying like the New Age movement was right wing, and like I should do like I should record
the New Age movement was right wing.
Yeah, like I should record a video on it, right? Like
that's there is like wild take.
Yeah.
I mean, I presume he has a video or like a thread that makes this claim. Like,
well, he wasn't doing, but other parapolitics people were doing it. Like he does talk about like the connections between like early Silicon Valley and like the remnants of the New Age movement.
Yeah,
and,
like that's where they went. I mean, like because there was the micro dosing, I can see it, like, because like there is this weird
sweeping claim though.
Well, I mean, because there's like this bizarre fusionism between, or fusion of, because fusionism is separate. Like there's a wild fusion between like microdosing, neo-Buddhist spiritualism, in Silicon Valley. That's like, I believe in taking care of myself and being devoid of all attachments, but I'm going to work with this like AI startup that's going to like make our like loitering munitions that much more effective at killing ground people. It's just like, okay, there's some contradictions here that,
like that guy that makes his own toothpaste, but he's like a Silicon Valley venture capitalist guy.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, like Brian Johnson, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's Silicon Valley. If you've got kind of fuck you money to go try and live forever and do drugs with your girlfriend. Yeah,
that's what Delicious Taco said. In the future, there's going to be there's going to be Moonbra Brian Johnson TV dinners in Walmart. There's gonna,
I believe it.
It'll happen. Yeah,
you're gonna go buy a Hungry Man, and it's gonna make you live forever.
Yeah, it's gonna have all the
you have to be addicted to it in order to work.
Yeah, it's gonna have peptides and like antigen agonists in it.
You're gonna live forever.
No, but my point was, that like a lot of parapolitics people, they make these like huge sweeping generalizations about things, but at the same time, I do admire them for being consistent.
Don't we all?
Yeah, don't we all? Right. But I do admire them for being consistent when it comes to like the Western imperialist thing, because they're willing to go to war with libtards that are like Antifa libs, and they're like, no, actually, you support the McWorlding of the Middle East, but you're talking about Israel.
Turns out Caleb Maupin was like pro jihad after all.
Yeah. Like, no, no, like you're
there's a take for you kids.
Yeah, no, they're like, okay, you're talking about Gaza, but you don't really care because like you're still supporting like the interests of America and Israel, the Middle East, but you're doing it in like a libtarded way.
Your
It's like,
gateway.
yeah, you're doing it in a rainbow form of
Like like the
yeah.
LGBT, like the CIA's The Last Color Revolution. Which, I mean, there's probably some like well
There's a lot of truth to
documented
that,
truth to
yeah,
that statement.
yeah.
So it's not like I'm saying anything completely outrageous. It's like
'Cause, like
actually, yes, gay rights has been like the
yeah,
epicenter for how we politically engage with like the quote unquote like Islamic world. Like we have done it in the past, and so it's like none of this is particularly new.
yeah,
Which makes
no,
it for an interesting political dichotomy because, like, at home, it absolutely disrupts us because we've taken away like all cultural and theological immune systems and self-defense mechanisms that would
right.
like prevent that from taking hold. And it's like, well, actually, like the way in which like jihad is responding is like an ethno-sectarian immune response to like an outside invader trying to subvert it from within. Because it's just like they can like look at us at home and they're like, oh yeah, like this did not end well for the adherence to like any traditional religion or talent or whatever. And it's like, well, we don't want that happening to us because it's just like no one wants to imagine, like I'm sure for just like us, right? Like the greatest nightmare is like waking up and realizing that like you live in like the Walmart dystopian hellscape where you are the Walmart greeter listening to Walmart radio talking about your work anniversary while you work so hard so that your son can enjoy like a top surgery for or like bottom surgery or whatever. It's just like, oh, and it's taxpayer funded. Like I love like my like McWorld LGBT liberation zone, block 12 versus like, well, I think I'm just gonna stay with the Burj Khalifa and beat my slaves.
There's someone that made a Persepolis comic where like
And doesn't Mom Donnie's girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever, like isn't she the kind
she
of
does
person
this neoliberal kitsch type
she
of deal,
does this like Persepolis kitsch stuff where she draws herself and like that's art style of like ugly, like kid.
They're always
and,
like bitter faced, yeah.
It's just like there's some genuine hate there, and it's just like, well, but it's always in the same sort of art style. And it's just yeah.
These boomers doing this, these like Fox News boomers doing this protest in New York. They're like, don't you see Mandani's an Islamo-communist? It's like, okay, two things. Number one, there is a rich history between socialism and communism in the Islamic world, but not in like a stupid way. Like, but second of all, they're the farthest thing from like Islamo-communist because they're like, okay, maybe
they're
the communist
GSA libtards who hate whites.
No, but like they also like are totally irreverent towards like the Islam equation of that Islamo-communism thing, and it's like
it's more for them. It's a cultural affectation.
Like the global caliphate is not driving Madani and his wife. Put it that way. Like it's not. It's such a stupid like dialectic of the 2000s.
They're not getting a call from some Wahhabist imam.
Yeah, exactly.
Saying, like, my son, the time has come to bring the infidel. You must
destroy the homeless people.
You must kill all the homeless people. You must raise the rent, brother.
Oh my
could be
God.
wrong, like if there is I would like Obama
had Bill needles. The heroin needles, don't clean them up. Like
don't destroy the safe drop sites. It's just like, I don't know. It's very entertaining to consider that because it's like, Obama had Bill Ayers, like this raging anti-white communist with the Weather Underground who got pardoned by Bill Clinton and has a 10-year professorship and was like Obama's like, teacher. But at the same time, it's just like, so who's Mamdani's guy? And I'm like, well, the more I look into it, Mamdani seems to really just have like connections to every big NGO that's like ever poured through New York. Like he is far more, he's not an upset at all. Like he really is a big, well-known
New York Power wanted Mamdani.
Yeah, like he's well known in these like circles of power. And like some of his chief of staff, or not his chief of staff, but some people have associated with his campaign. I don't know if they work for explicitly his campaign, but like I do know, for instance, that he's had people that have worked with like Movendi International, and then there's of course like CAIR, of course, and it's just like, oh, so like this is not it's the same thing with like AOC, right? Like this was a poster boy for a much sinister project.
Yeah. No, but
And to treat him as like, well, this is what happens, and it's like, this is what happens when you let these people in, and they will be taken advantage of by wealthy NGOs and donors and powers that be that will weaponize him against your interests. Because obviously Native New Yorkers did not vote for him, but like they've obviously been replaced. So this is where we're at. And every NGO and political activist group on the left are going to work lock, stock, and barrel to ensure that like they come up with like the perfect poster child for their like DSA socialist liberal Islamic theocracy, when in reality
he like immediately threw the Gaza issue under the bus as soon as he got elected.
Well, so and it's just like, okay,
trick the voters into believing, but then like throw them out.
Well, yeah. So if you are like a dyed in the wool kind of like DSA, kind of like parapolitical communist, like Sean McCarthy, like, yeah, you're gonna do the Felford Again Award with no hesitation, because you are a diehard believer in that stuff. And
Sean McCarthy
he obviously got played.
Yeah, like he was posting those Felford Again Awards when Donnie got
elected. I know. That's what I'm referencing.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like, there is obviously like, okay, I'm not gonna like totally discount what people say, that like, oh well, foreign powers like the Chinese, the Russians, the Emiratis, or whoever, that they're like funding wokeness. But it's like, I've always thought that
they certainly do. I mean, like, there is a lot of Chinese, like there is a shit ton of like Chinese influence.
Yeah, no doubt. But I think it's not.
But go on.
But my point is not like there's obviously like an organic base of this type of stuff. Like,
sure, yeah,
like there's not like some Wahhabi imam, like you were saying, calling Madani, saying like, listen, you have to push woke tardation on the Westerner, and you have to like destroy their civilization from within. It's like, we kind of did that to ourselves. It's just there's opportunistic powers.
You're absolutely right. Like we've deliberately nuked the cultural, and to even say we nuked it is like, yes, there's obviously some culpability and agency towards like Westerners, because there are obviously like a lot of Western white libtards that have caused problems in the country. But then at the same time, you're just like, yeah, but like there are also a lot of people that have worked their like damnedest to like deliberately weaken the country culturally and socially to accept these things. And it's like, when you take a look at like the left in general, it's just like, oh yeah, like there has been nothing but political victory after political victory through the bureaucracy, and not necessarily through political popular fiat. But again, I mean, that's a conversation about like the issues like with democracy, because it's like, well, if the left can win via judicial fiat almost every single time, and like despite the will of the voters and the will of the population being like, well, I hate your guts and screw you, then like, what are we doing here? And it puts you in a really weird spot.
Yeah, like no doubt there's foreign funding to a lot of like these groups that have like an invested thing in like wanting like total open borders and like Canadian style Justin Trudeau immigration policy. Like, no doubt there's a lot of like, Chinese, Indian, other country funding, Russia, whatever. But it's like, I think like, but the problem is that it becomes a very convenient way for like the Fox News boomer to then go like, Mandani wants like global caliphate but communist. It's like, no, that's not what Mandani and his wife wants. Like, they want, they want LGBT CIA communism. They don't want that, and it's like a very, I think you have to like look at these things from a more like nuanced perspective. Like, obviously Madani's wife, her identity is to like her artwork, having seen a lot of it, it's to the extent that it's like an identity coding rather than like any heartfelt like fealty or loyalty to Islam. Like, that's, like, it's not just her. You could go to any one of them. You go to Liberal Jane, and it's the same shit. Same.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, gaslight.
She launders her authenticity with it, though. She launders her, you know what I mean?
Gaslight, gatekeep, Gafara. It all works out. It all works out in the end.
Oh my god. No, but I thought that movie trending.
The Islamic term for forgiveness, or Arabic for forgiveness. I have not taken a look. I have not brushed up on any Arabic in years. I studied a lot of it when I was in college, because it was it was particularly interesting because I took a comparative religion course, and I was like, oh, this is unique. And then it's a real red pill. But anyways, it is strange to see all that play out. And like again, like it's 2026. We're like it's when the Islamic Revolution take place, 1977, 78,
78, 79, 78,
78, 79. So it's just like, oh, like it's been a long time since we've had what's the word I'm looking for? It's been a long time of Jihad versus McWorld. I think it's safe to say we know who's winning, at least culturally speaking.
McWorld?
I mean, to some extent, yes, but also no. I don't know. It's strange.
Know, though. It's strange
because, like, well, I mean, if I were a historian in the year, I don't know, 3000 in 26, and I were to say, well, the early American, you know, like, or like the North American, like, empire or whatever, fought this brutal war in 2001, and then was like subsequently 25 years later had a young Muslim progressive win the mayoralship of the city that was attacked by radical jihadists. Any normal historian would be like, oh, well, those guys clearly lost the war.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, but that's an extension of McWorld, though. Like, Madani's an extension. Yeah.
But then at the same time, like, well, at home base, like, there's a stronger immuno response now to this stuff. So it's just like, you're left wondering, because I used to joke all the time. It's like the most terrifying thing about like the progressive meme weapon is that it has the theoretical capability of turning a Saudi emirate, you know, like Saudi prince son's, you know, trans before it like, you know, before he decides to like strap a vest to himself. And it's just like, I don't know how true that is, at least at home. Abroad, yes. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see unless like total remigration happens in my lifetime, I guess we'll see as subsequent generations of Islamic, you know, diaspora, you know, continue to be quote unquote westernized.
Yeah. But I think also like Jihad versus McWorld is complicated by, I mean, even just like this recent war, like Charlemagne on Twitter is calling Professor Zhang a crank. But like, I love that shit. I love crazy ideas. I love like glorious conspiracy slop. I love that stuff. I haven't bit the bullet and started watching Candace Owens or anything, but like, no, but I think
I don't think I ever will.
No, I mean, that's, but I think like the Jihad versus World thing, for as much as it's held up, I think that there's also a lot of complications. I mean, especially with the events of this past week, like in terms of like the Islamic world is not this united force the way that McWorld is.
Well, in the same way that like in America, like the
even McWorld isn't a united force in terms of like
McWorld isn't, but also like Israel and like the greater Jewish diaspora is not a united force. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of times when we say like jihad, McWorld, or like, you know, name insert ethnic scapegoat here, it's just like, well, what we're functionally doing is that we're doing a lot of like univariable analysis that isn't as accurate as it could be. And I think we do ourselves a great disservice when reading about the world. Like, what specifically here are we ignoring, or what are we, you know, doing? I just think we're not. We could be better, so to speak. Like, there's more work that could easily be done at talking about these things. And when we actually do start breaking down like factionalism, then it's like, oh, okay, like yes, it is XYZ group, but it is also like specific faction insert here that requires us to look at this. Like the whole Dubai thing is really interesting because it's just like, it's been a running meme for like the last several years that like, oh, like models go to Dubai to get used and to do depraved shit. But also at the same time, like there is some cultural soft power there. Cause like now we're talking about like, you know, there's Dubai chocolate in every fucking gas station in America now, which is very strange. I've still not had any. I'm good, you know?
I'd try it. I just never had the occasion to buy it.
I mean, literally, there was like I got gas today, and I went in to go take a leak, and I was just like, oh, there's Dubai chocolate at like the register, and it's just like, who who buys this? I don't know. It's just interesting to watch as a cultural artifact, I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
not for me. I don't get the appeal, but also like I know that I'm not the main target demo for that stuff. It's like, well, this wasn't made for you, and it's like, well, yeah, I know, but like anthropologically speaking, I'm incredibly fucking curious. So it's a weird spot to be in, But like, actually, what we should do is we should return one of these episodes. Like, I know the last 2 Tuesdays in March we're covering Code Geass, but like in April, I would love to go cover some selections from Jihad versus McWorld. Actually, if we don't do it, I know Dimes and I will eventually cover it, but I think it'd be fun to take some excerpts here, like 30 years later from when that book was written.
Oh yeah, yeah. That'd be
I'm
good.
fully on board with that.
Oh, we still have to do Shadow of the Torturer as well.
Yes, we do. We have to do Shadow of the Torturer. I got my physical copy of that, so I've got an old paperback copy, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. Right now, those are like the only two books I'm reading, which is Ostelhammer's Transformation of the World: A History of the 19th Century and Shadow of the Torturer. So it's been it's been fun. It's been a good time.
Oh yeah.
So Gio, what have you been up to? Like you just put out another painting video recently, right?
A week ago, but I'm trying to like I'm still trying to like plow my way through these film review requests. Like I have like most of like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like, should I respond to this thing about the new age movement and the right, and like
I think
also
it'd be
like,
a very fun conversation to have on the show.
maybe. I mean, I could go through
or even just talk to the guy who made the claim.
Well, it wasn't him. It wasn't Parapolitics Mag, but it was like someone else.
Okay. Well, I mean, I linked me that because I really want to go read that now, because like now I'm just curious.
There is someone I think who wrote something about it too. Like it's no, but I'm trying to like go through these film reviews. Like I have notes. I have a lot of notes on the film Naked by Mike Lai, and I'm almost done the Napoleon Dynamite review, and then I have like a few other ones.
I have been recording Ace Combat 7 footage on my PC for Yassine's Ace Combat review. I am going to record that book review probably after I get back from a fishing trip I'm going to on this weekend. And then after that, it's just going to be the Code Geass stuff. And I think I'm more or less caught up, all besides Shadow of the Torturer, but those will be DA episodes. But yeah, I mean, I had an essay out last week on sort of culture wars, the American religion, which was a claim made by like Deacon Seraphim Rowland, who does like the Great Stories Great Stories or Great Histories podcast, which is really interesting. Not my, like, it's not stuff that I watch. It's very like Jonathan Pajot coded, but like he made that claim and I was like, oh, that's like an interesting way to look at it. Like I haven't heard it been said that way before. Which made it interesting. I'm currently writing. I should make that announcement. I will be, Lord willing, I will be in the next issue of Islander magazine, the Lotus Eaters' print publication. So I'm very excited. I'm talking about organization and social technology, which I think will be I think you guys will really like what I've been reading lately. It'll be a lot of Nicholas Luhmann and other stuff. So I've got that going out, which I'm really excited to put out. I always feel good when I get a chance to like sit down and physically write pen to paper and then transcribe, because that's my writing process. I know it's ineffective or inefficient, but I feel far more creative when I'm physically writing down my thoughts than I am typing. It's only when I'm typing do I start editing my own mental, word vomit. I'm like, oh, that sounds like shit. better go fix that. But I think that this, I think we'll have to definitely return to like Jihad versus McWorld, and I'm gonna have to go read this Dubai Futurism article on my own time and talk about it. But I think this will be a good place to maybe cut in for answering lovely questions from the audience, because the Digital Archipelago is sponsored. by viewers like you. Without your ongoing financial contribution, Gio would have to get a real job, and I would have to like slave away in another wage cage. So we are always grateful for you being our supplementary sources of income. But we continue to do this, and we'll probably continue to do like a call-in show every 50 episodes or something like that. Because I
Maybe
thought that was a
even
lot of
more
fun.
frequently, but we'll see.
Yeah, or maybe make them like like paid specials or something.
Could
I
be
don't I
that.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I liked the chaotic mess, and Randall Shirker is an absolute delight to talk to. So we'll probably have to continue that trend of doing these more in the future. But I will start with the super chats. I will start with the ones over on YouTube, and then we will conclude on Entropy, since we're already like 2.5 hours episode again. So let's begin here at the top. Randall Shirker says for $2, he says Walmart is going to be the winner of the Corpo Wars. I thought the winner of the Corpo Wars was Taco Bell. That was the winner of all Corpo Wars. But there you go. Randall Shirker again for $5. He says we will bully all of you until you install and then play Deadlock. Isn't that like a MOBA hero shooter type deal? I really don't play those, but I mean, you can try your best at bullying me. Denall for 132. He just generously sends $5. Thank you very much, sir. Randall Shirker again for $5. He says, being against AI stuff is the ultimate midwit tell, and I'm tired of pretending it's not, especially after the Rona response and the state of corporate work. I think it just depends on, I think that I think there's AI skepticism that's not midwittery. And this, like, I don't think I need to be an alarmist akin to like Eliezer Yudikowsky to understand that like there's probably going to be a great degree of dehumanization that takes place that will probably create some form of either social unrest and or panic. But also at the same time, like, we're 50 plus years into television, and I don't think mankind has accurately depicted or even analyzed how television has fucked us over, like mentally and sociologically. So, I mean, AI is moving and rapidly updating with every new model. So God only knows what's going to come. I'm not necessarily against it, but like with all things that I'm not completely aware of or have an intimate understanding of, I am skeptical. And of course, that is due to my ignorance. But at the same time, I do feel as if we're not ready, like if we can easily get one-shotted by like silly AI generated cat videos or bunnies hopping on a trampoline. I am very curious to see what we do sociologically as a response to when that stuff becomes almost impossible to tell the difference between actual footage and AI. I don't know. There's a lot there. And I mean, like, there's interesting people who I think, like Joe Allen, who I think has a far more sociological, theological response to AI and his skepticism. Whereas then, like, you have the Yudikowsky types that are like, well, this is like a gray goo, vulnerable world hypothesis scenario. So I don't know. I think that it requires, for starters, me to just become far more well-read on the subject. But two, I think that there is anti-AI or like AI skepticism that isn't like a surefire giveaway for midwittery. I don't know, Gio. What is your take on the AI question?
I'm sort of like on the fence. I do like see its potential in the hands of the right people, people that do have creativity but lack skill. I actually did talk about this with Skilos as well, the AI thing. We did talk a lot about the Shape Store, but I just think like the people that are like vehemently anti-AI, they piss me off for different reasons. But at the same time, I do think that there obviously is like a lot of downsides to it. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of unleashing a real potential for something that isn't just, like I said in my podcast a few weeks ago, that isn't just like submerging most people into like AI goon cave fantasy land. There will be a minority of people that will create something quite astonishing and beautiful and meaningful with it. But I think like the vast majority of it, I honestly think like there should be a retraction in its mass availability. I think like there should be some kind of like barrier to entry. I know like the whole like philosophy of it obviously is that it's a democratization of creation, but I think there should be like some kind of like ultimately barriers to entry do breed a lot of creativity and will uh and do like encourage people to be more creative with any like new platform or new medium. But I know that that dream is impossible And so you're just going to have to deal with a lot of slop, a sea of slop, and like very few gems, but those gems will be worth it, I think. And so that's why I'm like totally against AI. I think like if you are someone who is more of like an industry person, if you're like doing, animations or whatever, like even still, like there's something you could do there. There's something, like all these people that feel threatened by it. It's like, I mean, I don't know, because at the same time, like a total anti-humanism, like a la Nick Land, or even like these unqualified reservation, like Silicon Valley types, like I don't exactly trust them either. Like I think that there is obviously something integral to the human. It's like something I was actually talking about last week with Stephanie Wakefield, the episode I did with her. There is obviously something integral to like what humanity is, but at the same time, humanity has always been influenced by forces outside of itself, or entities or realities outside of itself. But I still think that you can find a happy medium, and you don't have to like embrace this like Butlerian jihad, but it's like it's like a weirdo, like Tumblr kid version of it. But then you also have like maniac, like just let it go, like total AI apocalypticism. I think like both of those things will become sort of irrelevant in the future as we really see what its potential is. And I think like it will be a bit more mundane than what people think. I think like we're already integrating AI into our felt experience and reality already, and it's just will be more of the same, And I think like a lot of people will have their brains broken, but then a lot of people, I think, will use it to realize their full potential. So there's a trade-off there, but like all things that are new and innovative, only a very few. I mean, yeah, it's an elitist argument, but only the very few will be capable of using it to what it, the sort of like true, godly potential of it could possibly be. Only very few people can do that. But most people are just gonna like, create pornography with it. Let's be real, So, for every one shape store, there will be like a million cat videos like firing off a howitzer in front of a ring cam, and
Yeah.
that's just reality. That's like art
and I mean, it
in
probably will
general.
transform the future of like the loneliness epidemic.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, but that's like art in general. That's like anything. Like
Yeah.
the loneliness epidemic is an interesting. Did you see? We didn't talk about it last week. Did you see that commercial for the Friend gadget?
I did, and
Oh, it was terrifying.
I think we should go. I kind of want to do a video on that. I have, because I covered the Friend thing not too long ago, and I did my review of the movie Her, and I'm probably going to do a follow-up like discussion on it, because like, oh shit, that was depressing. So here we go. No, I'm not Ulysses from New Vegas. He says Dubai futurism is just Fallout, but somehow worse. Probably. Not Ulysses again says Dubai is just the Indian Vault City and somehow worse. Also true.
Yeah. Oh my god.
DA drinking game, take a swig every time Prude says da 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 da, or Gio says, you know what I mean? Yeah, I've got a terrible vocal tick, and I've got to go fix that.
Tons of those,
which is really sad considering I have a pretty decent public speaking background. I should really improve on my ability to be avoiding such filler words, pauses, or vocal ticks. I should be better at that.
But that sure. Like the exploitation video was like, it was terrible. Like it was. This is sort of like the like the Heartlander that's become economically destitute and precariat being hit by the imperial values of said anti-civilization, and you're going to like create this palliative of this digital friend that makes this person's life
your wearable friend's voice will be the last thing you hear before the maid pod like releases the gas. Yeah. I don't know. There's some stuff there.
Very dystopian, that film. It was disgusting, and that was supposed to be an advertisement. Like, how is it
or is it really just a social experiment? Like
maybe
Schiffman obviously knows. I think he has a clue of what he's using this for. Like, yeah, it was like the original advertisement 2 years ago was like really dystopian, and then watching it, that clip, it's more like, I feel like this is more of a social commentary / performance artist activism experiment. Only time will tell, but I'm going to carry on with the super chats. No, I'm not Ulysses from New Vegas for 199 says the Iranian diaspora twerking video gone wrong, Groiper. We just love how if you slap Groiper at the end of anything, it becomes entertainment. Chant the Man in 8443 says, did y'all watch the Shape World short? Oh man, we've been enjoying the Shape World Shape Store stuff. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Some of it's kind of sloppy now, but like that was inevitable. But yeah.
Car Small 8859 for $5. Gentlemen, I shall be visiting the beautiful nation of Taiwan. Please pray the Chinese don't invade. I prefer peaceful hikes. I certainly hope that there's no invasion that takes place. Be safe. Enjoy your travels. Please report back with in the chat about your lovely time there. And make the most of it. Have a great time. I always encourage, take a vacation, make it happen. So do that. Wingman 4564 says, new phone, who dis? Well, hello, Wingman. We're glad that you're here. And thank you for continuing to be a channel member. Do not worry. I've got plenty of stuff going on that you won't need a new phone for. Wingman again says, so what happens when the AI can remove Indian? Well, AI doesn't, like from videos or from like
call
callers.
Centers. Yeah.
Well, a lot of places are already doing that. Like, it is terrifying that like there is already AI scam bot stuff that's like it either copies your voice
like
or it
takes
the copied voice of like a loved one or a friend. And tries to get you to like it's almost like, hey, I'm in danger, like can you just like help me get this information, so yeah. Vulpus Persona says automatic for the people. I have no idea what that's a reference for.
That's why you should like oh,
it's the REM album. I should know this. Yeah, automatic for the people. I'll have to go re-listen to that now. I'll do that during my car ride.
It's like if you have kids, you should like have like secret code words or references that only they would get. So in case like one of these AI scammers calls them or something,
that's probably gonna have to come. And I mean, like that's just gonna be the same thing of like, don't talk to strangers. If you don't hear a certain passphrase when daddy calls, it's probably AI spam. You know, things like that, or like just using more secure like apps or whatever to communicate. I don't know. It is going to be a changing social environment. No, I'm not. Ulysses from New Vegas says, Prude has a secret sunglasses collection, Groiper. I do have quite a few sunglasses that I don't wear as often as I should. The thing I do
you got the zebras or whatever they're called, the safaris, you know, the like in the mid 90s, like rich people like what was it called?
Zebras I have a secret collection. It's not really a secret collection. I have a huge collection of flat caps. I have a lot of flat cap, tweed flat caps. I have a lot of those. I had gotten one when I was like 12 when we were overseas, and I thought it was a neat looking hat, and so I fell in love with it. And like all idiot, like autistic kids, and I'm not even autistic really, it's just like all socially awkward retards like myself, it's like, oh, this hat's gonna be like part of my thing, it's gonna be part of my personality. And now, you know, 18 years later, that hasn't really fucking changed. I wear those really often. So I guess it works out for me. It'll work out just fine. But thank you so much. If you want to continue asking questions or have a super chat and things like that, then by all means, go ahead and use the Entropy link. It is the pinned comment in chat. It's also right there in the description. But Sex Freakman has become a channel member for another 2 months. He says, the Howling Mutual Fund portfolio. Howling Mutual Fund is actually a really good one. There's been like 1 million Howling Mutant clone accounts, so that's very entertaining to watch. Big fan of that. Big fan. But over on Entropy, let's go ahead and refresh that, and we can get started with the Entropy super chats. I think we only have 2 for the night, so no big deal. We'll keep this nice and brief. We're actually going to hit the sub 3 hour mark, which is great for me. Seneca for $5. He says, evening, Prude and Gio. I hope both of your weeks are going well, and congrats on getting married, Prude. Well, thank you very much. He says, take my money and go buy yourself a nice right-wing indie anime game for your new rig. Oh man, I went to Micro Center this last Saturday with a friend of mine, same friend who I was like crying in tears laughing on Friday night, Mr. Oinazuka Groiper. He's a very dear personal IRL friend and a great Twitter mutual. And there was this computer at Micro Center. It was $11,000. Oh! 11 grand. But like it had these screens and all this RGB stuff where it plays clips from Dragon Ball Z on the side of your computer. So basically it's playing a Dragon Ball Z episode while the computer is running. And I was like, wow, that is insane. I can see why this is $11,000. And some Mexican guy's gonna buy it. That was my thought. God. I was like, it's just gonna happen. But no, I've started putting. I got a new tower. I got my CPU cooler. I'm gonna go back this weekend and finish buying out the rest of my parts because I was gifted a lovely 9070 AMD card for my as a engagement present. So I'm like, well, I have an excuse to go build a new PC now. So it'll be a lot of fun. And it's funny too because like the bundle that I have at Micro Center is like, well, you can get like your processor, your motherboard, and like 2 sticks of RAM. Like 30.
Look at this Randall Shirker comment.
I damn it. All right. I like how he flexes his wealth on his fellow Mexicans. Oh, Randall Shirker. Oh,
no, he didn't mean you. He meant like the people that would be willing to buy.
Okay.
PC.
I see. It would be true if you blow $11,000 on a Dragon Ball Z playing screen. That'd be a lot of fun. But like, so no, I may actually. All right, so this is true. So because of how AMD is with their builds and a lot of CPUs, and then the physical space with like CPU coolers, the guy who was talking to me at the build the PC section, he was like, well, I already bought the RAM, and like this thing is going to come with more RAM. I'm like, so can I just like quad stack? And they're like, AMD really doesn't like that all that much. So I might. Here's what I might do, Chad. I'm thinking about it, unless I decide to sell it for money. I may give away fresh DDR5 RAM, 2 sticks of 16 gigs. I may do that as like a giveaway or a prize. I haven't thought about it yet. We'll think about it. I don't know, but we'll carry on with the super chats. I appreciate it, Seneca. Your $5 are greatly appreciated. I'm glad to see you in chat. And then Charlie Mackey with a very generous $25. He says, "Good evening. I hope you are both well," as his often greeting is. What you should never do is buy AMD. Well, I was gifted the AMD graphics card, so we're just going to make a build after that and work off of it, so it'll be fine. You can buy a Barrett 50 BMG for that kind of money. That is some true. That is so true. But for $11,000 that will stay in my nest egg account.
How much
when
is
I go
a
buy a
50
house?
cal round?
A 50 caliber round?
Like how much? Like they say it's really expensive.
BMG ammo. I can go buy a box of 50 BMG. Let's just check Sportsman Warehouse. 50 BMG, 10 rounds is $47.99, so $4.80 a round.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive.
It's very funny, like you see those gun YouTubers, they're like, that guy spent my whole week's paycheck on the range today.
Yeah, but it's like those guys are probably also sponsored and shit, so it's not like they've got that's sort of no motherboard though. I know that's what I'm trying to. That's the next thing I have to buy is the motherboard.
I imagine a guy like Kentucky Ballistics or whatever, they're probably sponsored by some.
And hey, like we're gonna, every congressman's bought and paid for right now, so it's like, hey, like. Brandon Herrera is going to be the first Kel-Tec sponsored congressman. I'm fucking excited.
Kel-Tec sponsored? Is he going to win?
Oh, most likely. I mean, he won the primary. He won the primary because Tony Gonzalez dropped out of the primary. I mean, Texas 23 leans Republican. It is one of the fewer competitive districts in the state of Texas. But like, I mean, things have been redistricted. So, I mean, he's probably going to win. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I'm kind of excited for him. He's the only person I know who can make like edgy Third Reich LARPerism kind of Reddit coded like with that Erica video. But he did call,
he
did call the MP40 the original Ghetto Blaster, which was very entertaining. So we'll see what happens. Right now, the runoff for the Republican primary for the Senate race is still going to go on in May. Oh, Texas 23 is R+8. It used to not be. It used to not be R+8. So yeah, he'll probably be the next congressman. Good for them. Nevertheless,
that's incredible.
Brandon Herrera. It's going to be between Ken Paxton and John Cornyn. I'm probably going to vote for Paxton again. So I have no reason to vote for John Cornyn. So, but yeah, I'm recording this Thursday before I go on my trip with Mr. Wade Stotts of The Wade Show with Wade Stotts over at Cannon Press. He and I are going to talk about P.D. James's The Children of Men. I think that'll be a good video that'll come out next week for you all to enjoy. And then I'll have more essays out. I'm going to have an essay out this week with the Old Glory Club. And then I've got to finish my time writing an essay for 2 different magazines. So I'll be very busy there. If you are a Frontier Magazine subscriber and or appreciator, I will have an essay out in their upcoming issue that will be made public soon And it is about the strange death of late night television. So it's going to be, I always get to cover weird cultural topics that I never
Oh yeah.
expected to do, which I've been told is usually when I'm at my best. So I'm very
Oh
happy
yeah.
about that. But Gio, what do you got going on next week? Because we're also hosting the episode on your channel next week.
Well, this week I'll probably have a content minded of film review one, and hopefully I can do another painting video by next week. I still have this big commission I have to do, so um, I'll probably have something. I also want to get into like Patreon, more like Patreon exclusive videos. Like I have a few rants. One of them is about a rant I probably don't want to release because I'll end up pissing people off. And another one's about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm like, well, I can't like really put this on my channel, but maybe I could like give it to patrons. So I like I'm like blackpilling about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm like, so I'll probably like I'll have like more of that type of like
You should just post
shorter.
you should just keep the Toronto Maple Leafs one on like Maine.
Maybe I should.
You should, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a staple of you bitching about it on the air. Like, I think for non-hockey people, I think it would be rather enjoyable to get a Gio's introduction to hockey in the same way that like Yassine has paid me to do an Ace Combat review. It's like I'm going to put that on the channel, but the Ace Combat review is going to be snuggled in, or it'll be smuggled inside like a greater, longer video / rant about why I have always been in love with flying since I was a little kid. And it's just going to be me talking about flight sims, flight games, places I've been to, and museums. So, I mean, like the Ace Combat review is coming, obviously, because he paid for it. But like, it's just going to be in a larger video about, I guess, like my fascination, and to a large extent, my fascination with speed and flight and Faustianism. So it's just, I know how you feel. It's just you have to bottle it up into something nice.
Yeah. I'll probably, another thing about it, maybe I will release it on Maine. So
yeah, you should.
Well, you should, yeah. Because I go through the history of like from when I was a kid to like even before, like in the 70s.
And you're gonna deny the audience that like sweet parasocial hockey slop?
Yeah, you're right.
The masses demand it. The masses demand it.
Yeah, they won. They lost their 8th in a row right now since the Olympic break. So it's probably, this is like the tank season.
They're gonna have to put them down. It's real tragic.
Yeah.
The Toronto Maple Leafs, all made in heaven. It was a match made there in heaven. Made with an eye, by the way. It's real
made
sad.
Made somewhere, but not,
Toronto Maple Leafs, they were made somewhere, just not at the Olympics. Maybe in the pod, though. I don't know.
No,
real sad.
They were made in heaven,
days.
put it that way.
Real sad these days.
No, but it also goes interestingly into like a parallel with Canadian society and the decline of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So yeah, I probably will release it on Maine. So anyways, yeah. So any more super chats or
let me check real quick. Let me go refresh entropy and just check in case it glitched out. No, I think we're good on super chat here on this end. So we will be live next week on Gio's channel and things like that. I will say ahead of time, the week of April 6th, so the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, that is Orthodox Holy Week. Pascha for us is on the 12th this year. I will not be live or on the air, so we'll take a week break for Holy Week because I go to all the services in the evening. But until then, we will be live next week on Gio's channel. I've got some essays coming out very soon on a variety of things. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
God bless. Goodbye. Too sweet.
All righty. We'll see you then, gents. Well, take care. Goodbye and stay safe.